Okay. Okay, we are live. Should we go get some water? Hey, Ib. Hey, Mr. Dents. What's up? Damn, already start off calling me Unk. That's all good. How's everybody doing? How was your day yesterday? Yesterday was Thanksgiving here in America. Did you guys do anything fun? And anybody celebrate it? For those of you that didn't, what'd you do? Just had a regular schmegular day. Let's see. Oh, Steinixos is up. My favorite gooner is streaming again. Why do you gotta call me a gooner? What do you gain out of calling me a gooner? I'm here trying to have a nice little chat or a nice little back and forth, and I'm out here being already being called a gooner. That's crazy. I haven't even gooned to anything. I haven't gooned to anything in like 4 hours, dude. What the fuck? You should be rewarded here. Where the fuck is my prize? Where the fuck is my cookie? What is love, baby? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. The strongest bleach character in every arc. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that, guys. Strongest bleach character in every arc. It's crazy. What you said last stream was enough. What did I say last stream? You gotta remind me. You gotta quote me. What the fuck is this about? Where's my headphones? Here are my headphones. Okay, let me put this on. I'm gonna check this stuff out. What are you script writing about? We're gonna write a script in a little bit. I'm gonna start up the script for the Bleach video. I don't know how many subscribers I'm at. I kind of stopped checking. I'm just gonna eventually at some point somebody's gonna hit me up and tell me I got 10k subscribers. So for now I figured fuck it. We're just gonna make content. We're gonna write videos. I'll probably make a TikTok as well at some point in the evening. I'm not gonna stream for too many hours either. By the way, maybe around like 3 hours today. I know you guys can't go on without me. I know that my presence is necessary for you guys. What did I say about Nami? What did I describe what Nami do to me? What I mean, you described what you wanted Nami to do to you. I never just did anything of the sort. You'd have to quote me there. You're at 9.97. Sweet. I didn't know I was actually going up. I think at one point I noticed that it went down, and I'm like, all right, you know what? It's not really an issue. So what about the shorts? Yeah, I'm gonna probably work through them next week. The shorts really don't take that long to write. What I'll probably start doing today is this, right? Like, listen, I have a process for everything. Usually I start up things and then just get them done sporadically, little bit by little bit. I do probably make one for Bugs Bunny versus Luffy. I'll probably make one for Bugs Bunny versus Luffy. I think I already got the one for the FTL. I got the one for this one. Zoro versus Pika, Kobe, Pizarro, Sukuna one-shots Kaido, Yuta versus Pain. Let me add another one here. Ace versus Itachi. I'm probably going to remove the Kenpachi one, because like I said, if I do anything even remotely close to or remotely relative to Bleach, I'm just going to fucking downplay them. I'm just tired of Bleach for now. Bleach fans think Soul King is stronger than Shibai Otsutsuki. They can believe that. I don't know what. I don't read the light novels. I'm not going to, so you'd have to give me some reasoning as to why he does such a thing. And I don't think that Shibai Otsutsuki really has anything going for him besides a couple of statements that, you know, could be true, but ultimately I could give less than two shits, because guess what? The character itself has not actually ever been introduced within the context of the story, unless it's actually Amado, in which case, let it be known right now that I'm right. Is the script you're going to write for Bleach? It's going to be for Bleach, likely. It's most likely going to be for Bleach. Let me just go... Should I just go straight off of that? We're just going to start a new one. Just going to start a new one. Bleach sucks. We're gonna put it with an X. Bleach sucks. 30 more subs and y'all 30 more subs. Yeah, we're almost there. First video, he don't fumble. Well, Ada and Damon has his powers. Yeah, they do. But again, I don't know what the character's actually capable of. What's the whole package look like? I don't give a shit about what other characters have that's part of him. I want to know what the fuck the character can do. Cause Okay, Ada and Damon have his powers. Would he be any stronger than them? Likely, but how much? What can he do? What else does he have? What other abilities does he contain? That's kind of my point. When people talk about Shibai Otsutsuki, they just kind of just bring up, oh, but Ada and Damon and Ada and Damon and look at what Kaguya could do. It's like, okay, but what can he do? Well, he's stronger than them, so he'd likely be even more powerful. Yeah, again, but like, what has he done? But he has their power. Okay, but what about his powers, right? Like, does he have anything else? Do I just... He could be like 50 billion times more powerful than they do. Do you want to do the cheek video? What the fuck is the cheek video? The fuck is the cheek video? Penis beating the brakes out of Yuta, and I will be a crazy jump on that bum. I debated someone who says Sekitachi would beat Orange Mask Obito, and I disagreed with him. What's your take on it? And damn, on non-gooning streak for 4 hours. That's a crazy streak. That's what I'm saying, man. At least you guys get it. You wait. I ate what, Lapis? Be very careful, Lapis. I will time you out as well, buddy. Is the 1000 special gonna be Naruto versus Luffy or Luffy versus Naruto? I've been thinking about that. I don't know, man. I feel like if I make it Luffy versus Naruto, then people are gonna think I'm biased for Luffy. But if I make it Naruto versus Luffy, people are gonna think I'm biased for Naruto. You know what I mean? I feel like I should probably just put both of their names on like the same start. Luffy versus Luruto. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that'll get people to understand that I'm just as unbiased as possible. Question: what would you consider a proper chain scaling? Like example, if a character holds back character A. If a character holds back a character who can be chain scaled, does that mean the person who held back is strong? I'm trying to find like a proper analog for like how we could properly surmise something like that. You sound like a master debater when it comes to Shibai. I'm not a master debater, alright? And first of all, and listen, here's the thing about Shibai, alright? Shibai is a character with currently no quantifiable feats and no kind of implications outside of just a couple of statements besides saying that he rose to a new dimension. That doesn't make me a master debater because I know these things about Shibai. If anything, I'd be the exact opposite. I'm simply going off of the concept that, hey, listen, this guy just doesn't... This guy only exists in concept. I don't think anybody's going to think you're biased towards Naruto. No. People are going to think I'm biased towards Naruto when I tell people how absolutely poopy, stupid One Piece is. To create any ability from nothing. I don't know. But considering that Naruto also has the ability to sense all things in the universe, I don't think that statement really means anything to me until I see what Shibai can do. Because Naruto is able to sense all things in the universe, and yet he's still able to get stabbed by Sasuke's sword off of a crazy, off guard. So, I don't know, man. Again, it's more, my issue isn't so much with Shibai actually being strong. I don't give a shit how strong he is. My issue is that people sort of just base it off of kind of nothing. It doesn't matter to me if they say that he can do, and has an ability to create everything out of nothing. I need to see the character actually do something first, because people are just assuming so much off of it. I don't like power scaling based entirely off of assumption. I really don't care for power scaling when it's based entirely out of assumption. His powers are not being able to display because he lives in a higher plane of existence compared to the Soul King who lives inside the dimensions. You say he lives on a higher scale of a higher plane of existence, but again, where's that shown? It just says he ascended to another dimension. That's kind of it. But so did Ichigo and Aizen technically. So I don't know. Has a crazy lore drop by the GOAT Oda. Yeah, we're gonna check out the One Piece chapter first. One Piece and Naruto have similarities compared to each other. Yeah, they do. Hey, what's up, One Smart? Speaking of Naruto, the skins are returning in December. What skins are returning? Let's see. Naruto Fortnite skins. Let's see. Return. Okay. I'd probably get like Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi if I still played Fortnite. My cousin hit my friend David and I about playing Fortnite again, and like we downloaded it for like a week, and then my cousin never got back on, so we were like, all right, fuck it, we're not doing that anymore. We're able to detect them? I don't know, man. What's this about? Who has the special? You know what? I'm already over it. Okay. Carried by Rika. I feel like with shorts, if you're not just immediately getting to the point, and you're just like trying to like do a whole I don't know, text in front of background to like get the idea, like that's more for like normal YouTube videos. If I see that shit in a short, I'm just out of it immediately. My attention span for shorts are like less than one hundredth of what they would be for a normal video. It's funny how Naruto can be composited via Fortnite. Oh no, yeah, composite Naruto via Fortnite scaling is absolutely insane. Solo's most of fiction. Yeah, 100%. 100,000%. Yeah, Lapis was telling me about like Fortnite character scaling. Yeah, no, this shit is crazy. Yeah. Like Shibai can only get stronger, and I do imagine that he only becomes more powerful. It's more or less a matter of like, I just don't give a shit to even remotely talk about him or scale him until I actually get to see something. Is Luffy in Fortnite? No. If we're talking a composite Naruto, he would probably curb stomp Luffy. Negative difficulty simply because of the Fortnite stuff. Which is why I want Fortnite Luffy as well. Then I just have to go with the same arguments I used for Luffy in regular shit. Funny to know that Naruto can be... Yeah. That was an eye-catching title head. If I remember correctly, Amado used it to explain the origin of Ada and Damon's abilities. Yep. It was. Oh my goodness. What's the script for? It's definitely going to be for Bleach Sucks. It's right here. See, Bleach Sucks with an X, so you know that I'm being serious. Okay, let's read the new One Piece chapter. For those of you that do not want to be spoiled by One Piece, you're more than welcome to step out for the next like 10 to 15 minutes. We'll probably get through it really fast, and then we're going to be good. All right. Cover request by Ideal Sanji. A cat scolded for stealing a book, but Gen and Nojiko aren't mad. Why did I call her Nogito? Nojiko aren't mad. That's cute. Yeah. I'll give you a little bit more, and I'll give you like another 10 seconds, and then we'll start reading chapter. Why are Robin's feet so big? Why does Luffy have these tattoos? He's just veiny right now. Who the fuck is this in the back? Is that Frankie? Is that supposed to be Frankie? Oh, that is supposed to be Frankie. Oh. Alright. Yeah, Fortnite at bare minimum is multi to high multi, bare minimum via the 0 point and the dark presence. Yep, yeah, no, Luffy doesn't have any insane composite scaling at all, unlike Naruto. What do you think of sexy shrimps? I've actually seen... Wait, what do you mean sexy shrimps? What the fuck is that mean? What the fuck does that mean? World building is very good. This chapter? Alright. 33 years ago, 5 years after God Valley, I could have sworn pirates were approaching off the shore. But there was something huge, a shadowy emerging from the mist behind them. The underwater prison of Impel Down. Everything just went kaboom after that. Our ships was in ruins before we knew it. We were nothing but fish food. Sure, it wasn't a Sea King attack? No way, he was shaped like a human. Don't tell me you were the infamous waters of the Forian Triangle. Fat chance we don't fish near that region. Wait a second. Everyone knows to avoid it. Anyway, the monstrous thing was definitely human-like. During this period, a rumor began circulating among the Grand Line countries. They said a monster lurked deep in the foggy seas, targeting pirate crews. The identity of that monster was none other than Harold. Few who sailed those waters had ever seen a giant with their own eyes, so to them he was nothing less than the very embodiment of fear. Harold now worked in the shadows to back up the Navy as part of his atonement for the last 1,000 years of history. Meanwhile, the pirates who had gone their separate ways after God Valley continued to rise in prominence over the next decade or so. Each of them would peak to become defining faces of their generations. Most of these pirates simply clashed over territory. However, one crew broke through all the others and achieved a feat long believed impossible. They circumnavigated the entire world. They were hailed as the crew of the king of the pirates, Gold D. Roger. The public execution of the captured Pirate King was meant to serve as spectacle, a display of the world government's power. However, the world was plunged into even greater turmoil as countless souls set out in pursuit of the vast treasure Rogers left behind, the One Piece. No one had anticipated the advent of the Great Pirate Era. Navy headquarters found itself caught off guard. As a result, more than 10 giants were drafted into the Marines from all over the world in an effort to consolidate strength. During this stretch of time, Harold waited on the Navy hand and foot. He's an ancient giant. Did you see how huge he was? I want to make him a slave. And that very year, he was finally granted a formal permission to visit the Holy Land. A shallow sea contract? That is correct. That is correct. Consider yourself the right hand of the God's Knights. God's Steel. It is a great honor. There are 3 levels of contract. The shallow sea contract is a more minor pact. Okay. The deep deep sea contracts are reserved for those who are bound fully to the true God. Only 13 individuals in the entire world receive that privilege. What do you mean by God? You will only come to know the greatest depths of this world on the day you become a full Knight of God. Could Elbaf become a member nation then? Naturally, Harold. At that point, the entire world would be clamoring to welcome you. I'm grateful for this opportunity to prove myself. The Knights Temple, Shangara, Domain of the Gods. Wow. Captain of the Knights of God, Figureland family, Saint Garling. What is the Great One planning? You're gonna obey us even though you're King of Elbaf? Of course, just say the word. We'll keep a long-distance transponder snail on hand, and we'll call if we have need of you. You'll be free to travel the surface world, but you are forbidden to speak to our... forbidden to speak of our dealings. 20 years ago? Ho ho ho, bah ha ha, I haven't laughed as hard in a long time, Neptune. Me too, pal Jamon. Oh, shit. Lapis, thank you so much for the 10. Appreciate it. Guys, for those of you that received gifted memberships, be sure to check your membership perks on your YouTubes. You guys will be able to join the Discord from there. So do all the rulers have shallow sea contracts or only Harold? It seems that only Harold seems to have one. We both have our fair share of headaches, don't we? To be honest, I don't think your son is that bad deep down. Let's not forget what your youth was like. Well, when you put it like that, I'm just being brutally honest anyway. Did I tell you a fortune teller predicted I would have a daughter in 4 years, Jamon? When the time is right, why don't we betroth Loki to my future daughter? Bah ha 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 ha, bah ha 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 ha. Now you're going too far. Cut it out. Hey, don't write her off so fast. She's not gonna be just any old mermaid. My daughter will be born with a power no one else could ever hope to handle, Jamon. Well, now that does sound like a perfect matchup. Let's have a toast. Here's to the futures of my mischievous troublemaker and your little Mosa Mosa. Don't call her that. She won't be Shaggy. Alright. The same year, Owl Library Elbaf. That same year, Owl Library Elbaf. Don't mention it. You're welcome to live freely here, Saul. Thanks a bunch. Actually, there's one thing I'd like to ask. What is it? If we get other learned folks onto Elbaf to help, will you be willing to open a school here? A school, huh? That's a nice deal. Yeah, okay. 15 years ago, a major incident occurred in the Holy Land of Mary Joie. My slaves are running away. The cells are broken. Hurry. Do you want to be their pet forever? Huff, huff, huff. Shift. Damn it, it's a God's night. Ching! Listen, the armory will be left unlocked for you. I'll tell you the location. Yeah, hurry, big sis, Sandersonia. There's someone out there, someone fighting to free us from this hell. Hurry, Koala, you have to run. This attack on the Holy Land was carried out by Fisher Tiger. In the wake of this incident, he would become the captain of the Sun Pirates. Sounds like it was a pretty rough. They say someone with the government must have left the armory open for them. Now it's up to us to find the culprit. I want to execute them. There's someone I want to introduce you to, Harold. This is my son, Shanks. His name is Shanks. Let me see something real quick. So is that... 33 years ago. This happened 22 years ago, because it was happened 38, so this should be a 17-year-old. This looks like it actually might be, Shamrock, right? He's Shamrock's younger brother. They were separated a long time ago due to circumstances. He suffered many hardships in the surface world. If he were to form a deep sea contract, I believe he'd make a great exit on par with Shamrock. For the time being, however, he's been given a rank of God Steel just like you. I know I said the same thing when I first met Shamrock too, but I can't shake the feeling that I've met you before. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just some giant commoner from the surface. Don't act so familiar with me. I was blessed from birth with Figureland blood in my veins. Have no doubts I'm going to become a knight of God before you. Guess I mistook you for someone else. Come on, Shamrock. I wish to deepen my knowledge of the Holy Land, and I shall apprehend the traitor that claimed the credit I deserve. Are there any leads? Okay. I can't wait till the wounds are fully healed, Shanks. You cannot fathom the anguish of having the last 24 years of your life wasted. Okay, so this is 9 years after... this is 9 years after... 9 years after Roger died, because Shanks was, what, like 15, 16 years old when Roger died? Shanks is 38 or 39, right? Is Shanks 38 or 39? So, what is he, like... Well, he's 24 now, so what are we, like... Luffy was just born then? Okay. No wonder the rest of the world seems so alien to me. You cannot fathom the anguish of the last 24 years of your life wasted. I hate everything that down there? Okay. Okay, interesting. That same year, the fishing village on Elbaf. It's no good. My medical knowledge is too limited. Let's call Harold and see if he can get us in touch with more skilled doctors. Don't. He's got a lot on his plate now. What's the point of fostering a network with the world government if we don't use it? I can recover on my own. You keep saying that, but you're getting weaker by the day. You have to get better. Harold will be heartbroken if you don't, you know. Mato, keep the tavern open. No way. How can I when you're that sick, Ida? Whenever Harold's home, he always goes straight to the elders. Don't worry, Harold, he always goes straight to the elders and begs them to allow you to legally marry. That fool, he knows I'm happy with my tavern and I enjoy befriending sailors from all over the world. I may not be much, but I feel like I'm helping Harold by doing that. Hey, foreign hag. Loki. Hey, foreign hag. What? Loki, cook this meat up for the old hag, will ya? The tavern's my main hangout spot. I want her to reopen it. Can you imagine how fucking big this bull must be? Good grief, that troublemaker has grown out of hand. I'm glad I've been able to keep him in line. I got you been able to keep him alive, even with Hydrogen and his friends away looking for a doctor. Your boys really love you. Everyone's blowing this out of proportion. I'll be fine, but it does make me smile. Elbash, hometown of Loki's birth mother. Huh? What'd you say? We were talking about, I don't know why, it's so small, it's like hard for me to read. We were talking about how utterly unbearable it'd be to let the foreign bitch worm her way into the royal family. You're with us, right, Loki? We're Estrid's relatives. She was Harold's true wife. We can't let anyone have a claim on her inheritance. That's why I slipped her a dose of poison. This stuff is fatal. Her days are numbered. No fucking way. Mato, we can't hold off on ringing Harold anymore. We might not be related by blood, but I see him the same way I see Hajuden. Loki is still my cute little son. Loki, hey! Oh, shit, he fucked him up. Ida isn't really gonna die, right? I still remember my birth mother. She hated me. She had me thrown into the realm of the dead. Who gives a shit about inheritance? Your whole family is nothing but trash. Now answer, Ida won't actually die, right? I bet you must get pretty lonely, right, Loki? Wouldn't it be better to stay with us? The only mother I've ever known. You know what? Reasonable crash out. Completely reasonable crash out. Completely reasonable. No. Completely reasonable crash out. Actually, you know what? Don't even... No, this fire right here, this is a Flames of Justice. This is actual justice right here. What Loki's doing right now? Yeah, no, this guy totally deserves it. 100%. Why would I feel bad about this piece of shit? Obviously, you know, the way he looks and everything. Not to say, you know, because of the way he looks, but it's like, Oda clearly does depict people like that are like inherently evil like this. Just down to the bone fucking terrible. He always has them as like grinning, scheming, evil fuckers. Yeah. Ooh, I like these though. This, however, is crazy. Why? Okay, you know what? And then I have to tell Loki right to his face. Yeah, that shit's crazy. Wow. Like, wow. What a chapter. Don't tell me it's a break next week, right? No break next week. Okay. Wow. What a good chapter. Peak media. Ah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I wonder what exactly made Shanks... I imagine that we're gonna, like, reach the point where, like, Shanks is gonna explain what exact reasonings for that, all that was, but yeah. I remade the impossible One Piece shot in Blender. Can't Fear Your Own World, Volume 3. Yeah, not reading that bullshit, not watching that. Alright, so from 1 to 10, what would you rate the chapter? It's a solid, like, 7 or 8. It's nice little exposition dumps here and there. I kind of wish that... I actually do kind of wish that we got, like, a little bit more time to, like, sit with it. Honestly, I guess that there's, like, just a lot of events that we just need to know, like, the aftermath of things rather than, like, what's happening since we've already kind of, like, been through those eras on our own. Oda just needs to essentially tell us, like, okay, so the major players that are happening around these points in time, this is kind of like what they're up to. I think it's fine. Hey, what's good, 6? Shanks is doing more planning and behind-the-scenes manipulation than Aizen. Kind of feels like it. Alright, I don't really have much things to say or do in order to, like, really entertain you guys. I'll probably just be setting up and writing up the script. Fuck, I'm actually gonna have to open up the manga, aren't I? I won't give a definitive opinion until the arc is done. I'm kind of feeling like things are getting rushed. It does feel rushed. I didn't want to say it, but it's so weird, right? Like, the pacing just feels weird at times. The pacing does inherently feel weird at times to me. The main reason being that we started the Loki flashback. We started the Loki flashback, what? Like 1150? No. Can we set him free then? Forget it, Luffy. There's no way this enormous freak fits on our ship. What about food? He eats more than you two. Than you. Come on, sounds like Elphaba doesn't want you around. I think it'd be fun with you. If anyone's got a problem, I'll whoop them. Shut your pig squeak mouth. Why would I ever be your henchman? I want to see him fight. Is that what your instinct tells you, Straw Hat? I want to see him fight. Yeah, I want to see him fight too. Okay. It was a horrible day. Something's coming from the sky. Okay. So, the flashback starts at 151, right? We're 152. And we're currently at 167. So, it has been over 15 chapters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 16 chapters, technically. Because this would technically count as one. I don't know, man. It's like, there was a lot of information and exposition that Oda definitively tried to, like, put out. I'm not saying that, like, at points it was... It just feels so weird to me. Yeah, new chapter's out. You can check it out on your own, 6, or if you want, you can just, like, go back to, like, the last, like, 10 minutes. I was reading it through that. We needed to learn about Harold. We needed to learn about Loki. We needed to learn... And I guess Oda decided to throw in Rocksteady Zebek and the entire point of God Valley from there on out, right? I feel like, if I had to be honest with you guys, and I had this discussion with my mods a while back, but I didn't want God Valley to be a part of this. I genuinely just didn't want God Valley to be a part of this flashback. For no other reason that... I can't say... Let me slow down first. I think the backstory for Loki is okay, right? I think that the introduction of Harold and how everything was happening, how he met Ida... learning about himself as a giant and about and understanding, like, the history of giants and understanding that, like, we as giants, we as a people have tormented a lot of society and a lot of the world for a vast amount of time. This part of the story did not feel bad to me. It honestly wasn't bad because Harold, we only really need to understand Harold as a character, at least for, like, early portions of the story, right? Just what he was like to what he became, and then what was the reason that ended, right? I think that Harold is sufficiently, I think that Harold is sufficiently portrayed within the context of the story, since while he is he is supposed to be at least an important character during this period, you don't really need to know much else about him other than he was very rough around the edges and eventually matures into a king that tries to be more benevolent, right? And he sees that the world government is sort of like the best way to go about things. The Loki plotline I also did enjoy. I didn't feel like it was too rushed. I mean, you can't really do much with a baby. You already kind of get the idea that like this child, this newborn child doesn't really, how do I put it? He doesn't really deserve the life that he's sort of gotten. A somewhat neglectful but loving father. A somewhat neglectful but loving father. A mother who absolutely despised him to the point where he essentially felt no love from the moment that he was born. You know, it's a lot of things. It's a nice little callback to Big Mom, so on and so forth. So I thought this kind of stuff was fine. I didn't even like really have an issue with the introduction of someone like Roxy Zebek early into this portion, because I really didn't expect the story to immediately turn into the Roxy Zebek show, which I don't inherently have a problem with. Let me make it clear. You kind of need to for Harold's story, but I feel like it ended so quickly and how much it was built up. It really distracts you. Not to be fair, I don't think there was built up a lot either, because like the only time that we really ever find out about Harold is within Elbaf itself, right? We know that Harold was a benevolent king. We know that he sort of established the current order of Elbaf, and we know for a fact that he was at least seemingly killed by his son. There wasn't really a lot there was built up, but there wasn't a lot there that like you really needed to flesh out the character more than understanding who he is as a person and how he reached that point. Oda kind of fits these 2 points, at least in my opinion, right? It just feels weird to me because it's like, again, I don't have an issue with any of these chapters with Roxy Zebek. Let me make that clear. And seeing the whole like Shaki thing and how she loves Rayleigh, Roger, and Garp, sort of popping out within this era and seeing them fight one another, nearly kill one another, so on and so forth. Again, it's kind of developing like the building blocks for the Rocks Pirates, which I also have no issue with. My issue was primarily with God Valley, because by the time that we got God Valley, I think it was like, 5-6 chapters? Let's see when God Valley necessarily starts, right? Okay, we can say that God Valley actually starts around, we're not going to say this chapter because it kind of leaves us off there, but we're going to say like God Valley truly begins to start off from chapter 1159 onward, and it was like, this was the last chapter which ends God Valley, so that was 59 to that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters, yeah, okay, so it was about 8 chapters. I don't think that God Valley necessarily only had to be 8 chapters. I feel like maybe a little bit more could have been done with it. Looking back at the Rocks versus, Roger and Garp, I think of it from like the perspective of like, once again, when you look at like One Piece fights, especially in the manga, many people might disagree with me on this, but like the fights in the manga are kind of not the reason why I watch One Piece. I can definitely say, especially after, a couple of years of having Gear 5 be animated, that Gear 5 is meant to be, Gear 5 is best enjoyed when it's animated, in my opinion. I know that some people prefer the manga because they don't go with the crazy animation that's full of colors and it's too much flashy, colorful crap and all that stuff, right? You kind of know his backstory, but if it would ended too quickly or how much it was built up for, it really distracts from the situation where the Straw Hats left off. I was talking about God Valley. It sets up Loki, latched onto Rocks as well. Yeah, I think all those things are fine. It just more so felt like, at portions of times, the flashback felt like, in portions of time, the flashbacks kind of felt like they dragged on for a bit, but I guess it was necessary to properly establish Roxy Zebek as a character, and I do agree with that. I think the issue here is that, like, now that we've sort of moved past it, within this chapter, we kind of just skipped multiple upon multiple years. I think we skipped almost over about, 15 years? Yeah, we skip around, 15-ish years. 38, then, because Shanks was born around God Valley. He was only, a year into God Valley? He was already he was either like a newborn or he was already like a year old. How old is Shanks? Let me just first figure that out. Shanks and his brother Stabs. Oh shit, I got hiccups. He didn't really miss much. He's 39. Alright, so he was born a year before God Valley. Okay, so Shanks was born a year before God Valley, right? So 24 years of his life. That means there are 15 years left before the current start of the series. Shanks became a Yonko 6 years prior, which means he was 33. 6 years prior to the start, Luffy would have been 11, which means that was 4 years afterwards. So Shanks would be 29. Shanks would be 29 around the time he meets Luffy. So within the next about 5 years, yeah, within about the next like 5 years, Shanks is gonna begin to defect from the God's Knights. Anyway, I don't know. The pacing has been weird. It's like, I don't want to say that it's been bad, because I don't think it's been bad in the slightest bit, but I do feel like God Valley could have probably been fleshed out just a tiny bit more. I feel like there's still a bit of pieces of information that we need to know about, like, Blackbeard, and as to why he has, like, that strange body composition of his, but more so, I wanted to kind of, like, get an idea as to, like, if Blackbeard really did have siblings or anything, because one of the biggest theories that has existed for a while now was that Blackbeard actually has like 3 souls living within him. It could still be completely possible. I'm not saying that it can't be, but considering that he seemed to have been the only born child for Roxy Zebek, and I'm gonna be real, I don't. How did they end up finding Shanks? Shanks probably went back to the Holy Land. 3 strongest anime characters according to me. I don't really have that. I can't really tell you that on lock. I really wouldn't know. I don't watch enough anime to tell you, especially some of the more power fantasy ones. I was on Stein's stream and it's boring compared to yours. I'm so happy you started. Oh, come on, man. That's not nice. I guess if you were bored, but like, come on. I think that at least I've been in like 1 or 2 Steinixo streams. I at least like listening to him. I feel like he usually has some very good points about stuff. Yeah, I don't really have like a lot to tell you in terms of like what the strongest anime characters are. Toriko's probably up there, right? Probably Toriko. Probably like the reincarnated as a slime thing. Yeah, probably one of those. The guy from Medaka Box that can like take the color blue out. Shamrock said he first appeared, that Shanks just came back to the Holy Land at some point. Yeah, it seems like it. So it's kind of like building up like this really weird scenario where like, I don't know, I feel like there's like this like really weird scenario going on right now where like, not in terms of like the story or the plot, more so in terms of like just I don't know, man, the pacing's just been fucking with me. I think that's really what it's been. Just the pacing has just really been fucking with me. Out of Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Hinata, Gaara, Itachi, Diddy, Maru, who do you want me to gift you? Oh man, you don't have to gift me anything, dude. It's fine. I appreciate it, but you're good. It's fine, dude. Aside from, the pacing has been going too fast. No. I agree with you, Six. I agree that in portions it feels too fast, but in other portions it felt too slow. I feel like it's because there was so many events that needed to transpire within the context of God Valley that Oda had set up. Probably has like a bunch of sticky notes everywhere. That he's like, I got to get this out within a decent time, and maybe he just doesn't. Maybe he just felt like there really isn't that much more information that needs to put out. This is what I mean when I say that like the pacing at times can be an issue, right? Where like, you mean the strongest in Bleach? Ichigo's little sister, both of them together, their combined power makes them the strongest character in the fiction. What about Don Kanonji? Don Kanonji is also one of the strongest characters in Bleach. And Kon. Ichigo's sisters, Don Kanonji and Kon. Those are the strongest characters in Bleach. There you go. I do think Oda isn't focused that much on the fights themselves, which is why it feels faster than usual. But to be fair, Oda said himself he wasn't a big fan of making repeated fights. Yeah, when it comes to like the whole repeated fights concept, like I'm fine with him like not having everything become a bit of what about Yami's dog? Didn't Yami's dog get killed? Didn't Yami kill that dog? Didn't he like slap it away or some shit? I don't know why I recall that being a thing. But that's neither here nor there. It's less about the fights, right? When I'm talking about like the fights, I more so mean that like I don't personally watch One Piece. You putting Ichigo above Yhwach? That's crazy. I don't read One Piece for the fights. Let's start off with that, right? I can't really tell you that there was a fight in One Piece that I necessarily care for prior to. I'll say this, I can't say there's really a fight that I care for One Piece prior to Second Gear Luffy versus Blue Note. I think that's like the first fight. I think that's honestly the reason he even dodged an attack from Yami's Resurrection. Oh, really? Damn, no, that dog might be crazy. No, you're right, the dog might be actually insane. Like, it isn't a huge issue. It does feel weird. I agree with you, Six. It was blatantly stronger than him, and he was only winning because the Almighty, and there were multiple instances where he overpowers him. I don't know. The Almighty kind of just out-hacks Ichigo. I don't know. I guess. Ah, yes, yes. Chad, no one beats him. No one. He beats Chad. Renji, he beats no one. Yeah. I've seen this joke already. Yeah, pretty good. I feel like you were trying to set up. I feel like you were trying to just set up this joke, Swarm. Nice attempt. I appreciate it. I appreciate the effort. By the way, you guys want to hear some, let me throw in some music in the background for you guys. Let me just lower that. Okay. So, it then becomes, I feel like, an issue where, like, with One Piece, a lot of the fights are okay. I can't say, like, One Piece has some of the best fights in fiction, but it doesn't necessarily need to have them, right? It's never about, like, which anime has, like, the best fights, unless you generally care about that stuff. But I think it has sufficeable fights. I think that, like, Kagura versus Luffy is still one of the better fights within the post-time skip. Ooh. Yo, Expedition 33 music goes way too fucking hard, man. Could Disney's Hercules solo Bleach? Anybody... Disney's Hercules? Hercules' parents that raised him could solo Bleach. What is you talking about? The daily reminder Black Beast is the GOAT? 6 would definitely agree with you on that. I think it's pretty good. While One Piece doesn't have the best fights, I do like the creative Oda gets with the abilities. I like the creativity, too. But, back to the point that I was getting at, that's one of the reasons why I'm, like, okay with, like, the fights within the context of the manga not being that great, because in all honesty... Let me lower this a little bit. Because in all honesty, I do feel like... By the way, guys, this fucker right here, it took me 242... again, 242 perfect parries on this fucker in order to beat him. I spent over a half hour on this thing. It was just... parry, 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 counter. Parry, 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 counter. I was on this thing... Yeah, but you took him on You took him on Act 3. I took him on in Act 2 before even getting to the painters, dude. That shit was agony. But I'm the type of guy that, like... By the way, Stein really rage baiting me and a few viewers by saying Yogiri is the strongest fictional character. I don't know who the fuck that is. It's not like non-power scaler saying Solo's Goku. Who the fuck is Yogiri? The protagonist of the light novel, My Instant Death ability is so overpowered. Okay, what's it about? Instant Death is Yogiri's ability to kill anything with a single thought. However, it's not killing, but ending. He can end anything and everything he wishes, making him boundless with this ability. Although he usually says something like die along with it, he actually stated to be shown that he thought based on multiple occasions that he also activates it upon saying anything else, such as you're an eyesore. It has been noted that the phenomenon occurs after he kills a target is dependent of Yogiri's cognition of death. For example, if Door's purpose is to block the way out of another room, it becomes logical that once the door dies, it will allow him to pass through. However, this is something that Yogiri does not actively do when he's using his powers, as it occurs automatically. Despite the name Instant Death, Yogiri's death inducement is not necessarily instantaneous if he decides to not make it so, as there is some leeway as to when his target can die, as long as they do die eventually. Seemingly connected to the nature of instant death, Yogiri's perception of the world shows him any hostility directed towards... Yogiri's perception of the world shows him any hostility directed at him or his abilities, or just plain hazards, and he can just track the enemies he would not normally be capable of tracking, and predicting their movements, thought patterns, or automatically retaliating with the activation of instant death. Moreover, his ability is beyond fate and time itself, and was even able to kill an entity from a higher plane of existence who was beyond space and time altogether. His ability does not follow logic, it transcends causality. Zelda's analysis revealed that the boy's power is not magic or related, and staff member from the Institute noted that his power is limitless. Yogiri can restrict his power. Okay, half-death and mortality negation. Yogiri is not only capable of killing anything, he also can completely negate different types of mortality, such as resurrection, regeneration, the state of people already dead, and even targets to whom the concept of death does not apply. Furthermore, even if the enemy resides in a different plane and uses avatars to attack Yogiri, he can reach the true form by killing said avatars. His power is irreversible to the point where even time reversal cannot negate couldn't bring the victims back to life. Resistance to immunity negation. Yogiri's ability is capable of bypassing immunity and resistance towards death, no matter how much defensive resistance is the instant the death the person has. It all immediately is in front of Yogiri. Invulnerability negation. Yogiri's power to kill Darion's invincible armor, which are not only invulnerable but also neutral to all spells, prevent any sort of status ailment, and stop any attack completely. Yogiri is capable of killing ghosts and spirits alike, including souls and soul fragments. Organic killing is capable of killing materials. Data erasure is able of shown to kill programs such as the Judge. Power killing. Yogiri can ability to target effectively nullifying them. Atemporal killing is capable of killing people when it is not in real time, such as through video recordings in which he says die on it. Being able to actually kill an unrelated target actually happens. Curse killing is able to kill and negate curses. Microscopic killing. Abstract semantic erasure is able to choose what he will kill, which includes how this ability can affect other people or environment. He can kill this momentum when falling to slow down. He can kill things based on conceptualization. For example, killed someone's memory of the event, they would lose that memory completely. If he decided to kill gravity, he could negate gravity either locally or planet-wide. He's capable of killing abstract phenomena and erasing concepts outright. Such as time and space, as well as laws, nature, non-existent killings, able to kill non-existent entities. This is seen when Realna's non-existent self remained after she was killed by Yogiri. He can also kill beings that are purely hypothetical, metafictional killing. Yogiri was implied to be able to kill question corner Q&A sections that the author makes at the end of each volume, according to Tomichika. This would likely be the lack of other bonus short stories for the next incoming volumes. In addition, the question corner stated that exists in a mysterious space outside of the novel. So, okay, a causal killing is stated to have no cause or effect relationship or connection, even after the gods transcend or the transcendent being saw Yogiri use his ability. They couldn't detect any kind of power emitted or activated from him, and there was no causality attributed. Assured death instant can also be targeted the source of any form of immortality, rendering them powerless or mute. Scion mentions that the Philosopher's Stone, which is the source of sage's immortality, was rendered powerless after Takato had killed the stone. Defensive aspects, automatic defense. Even if the opponent is faster than what Yogiri can physically react to, his power activates automatically to retaliate before harm is done. It's stated that it doesn't matter how fast the opponent is, Yogiri's ability will always successfully retaliate. This includes beings who can move at the speed of light, entities who can move through time via physical speed alone, and even those that are beyond time and space altogether. Even when he was a baby, Yogiri still had his automatic defense. According to the Ultimate God, it is also impossible to change or manipulate Yogiri's past, as his ability retaliates anyone trying to do so. What is his defense? Yeah, yo, Swarm, you don't insult people, dude. Yeah, please don't. Instant death is hilarious to me. He actually tones his powers down. He actually tones down his powers a lot. Subject threat detection. Yogiri subjectively recognizes certain types of abilities as a threat, even if they technically do not do any harm to him, such as mental attacks. Automatically retaliated against the opponent after the ability affects him. Later in the series, Yogiri started to consider forced teleportation as an attack, thus automatically killing anyone that tries to force teleport on him. Danger detection and black lines of death. Yogiri can sense and foresee any incoming danger that might harm him or his abilities beforehand, might be being able to quickly kill the cause or just dodge him flawlessly. Moreover, he can also see black lines, fogs, on people or places, which indicate that there is a potential danger involving them. It is later explained that Yogiri does not only detect killing intent, but also potential harm to his existence. For example, when he is an unintentional attacker attacks, the user does not even know Yogiri's existence. They will automatically killed if the threat is to him. In addition, he is able to detect power sources from different dimensions and kill them, as well as detect people who have the power being impossible to be perceived by any other means. Okay, gates. Due to wanting to be as human as possible, that's a fucking lie. He constantly restrains the power seals with gates that are locked within his mind. By imagining them open, he can release. This guy seems boring. This guy seems boring. This guy seems very boring. Yeah, that's a lot of abilities. This guy just seems very boring. Is an existence beyond fate itself and the end of all fates, as mentioned by Aoi, even surpassing fate. Yeah, no, this guy just really tried to write the most powerful character in fiction. I'm talking about Yogiri. Yeah, I mean, when you get a character like this that just does whatever the fuck they want, they can just kill you, it doesn't matter, they will kill you, that's the end-all be-all. I'm not gonna lie, technically Overwhelming Rebellion might actually counter this. One of my characters, my main protagonist's father has technically does have a negation immunity, but it's to the point where, like, he's basically unaffected by other hacks. I mean, it's the author's word versus mine, and I can just say my character would be unaffected by this, so, I don't know. True form is the very non-existence that represents the end of all things, something that no one could ever hope to surpass, the final destination of all fate, that there is nothing beyond. State of the human form is the end of everything, and the form of a normal person, further supported by the fact that its true form, something completely abstract again, such a being. Yeah. Alright, I'm over it. Asta negs. Doesn't matter, Fortnite still wins type shit. How does the story even have stakes? It sounds like a more convoluted Saitama. It is a more convoluted Saitama. Yeah, the story has no stakes. I don't know. Not gonna read it. Don't really care. Like, oh man, plain looking guy with a book in hand. This guy just says, die, you die, there we go, okay, fight's over. Yeah, no, that's not interesting. That's not interesting in the slightest bit. It's just a power fantasy. If you like power fantasies, you can probably check it out. Okay. Guys, by the way, don't be alarmed, but I might start this video without saying, hey, how's it going, everyone? I might actually have to write this video without doing it. Yep. Alright. Wow. That was definitely a thing. That was definitely something that we took in, all of us together. We experienced that. Guess Yana's gonna receive Sakura in his locker. I'm not gonna receive Sakura in my locker. If you're gonna give me anyone, at least give me Kakashi or Naruto. Don't give me Sakura. I appreciate it if you didn't. Actually, I would appreciate it if you just didn't send me anything at all. If the only other choice is Sakura. I appreciate it though, nonetheless, dude. Let's see. Okay. Hey, listen. Let's go back. That's a thing we took that was a heavily large and girthy indeed. That's a thing that we took on that. That was definitely... Finally, he answered? Yeah. You should send him a Sengoku. If you send me a Sengoku, I might just delete my entire Fortnite account. That would be a waste of money. Do not send me Sengoku. As a matter of fact, if you send me Sakura, I might actually delete my Fortnite account. We're gonna throw in some, just some music in the background. I think it'll be fine. I don't think we'll get demonetized, all things considered. I'm so fed up with Bleach, he's gonna start off his videos and he's not gonna start... Yeah. Alright. Let me listen to my, voice recording. I did a voice recording for this. I just want to listen to it on the back. 1 second. Alright. Oh, damn, I lost all my other voice recordings. That sucks. My relationship... Okay. So what do you think about sexy shrimps? I saw you can look them up with no problems. Aster, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna look up what sexy shrimps are. As a matter of fact, no, I'm not gonna look that up what that is. I'm not gonna do that. Unless somebody pays me to do that, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna put it like this. If I look up what sexy shrimps are and it's something crazy, I'm timing you out for at least a minute. Now, what would happen? I would unplug my console from my wall socket, and I don't mean unplug as in like remove the plug. I mean I would yank it right out and throw it into an incinerator. I'm not gonna. I will go to Fortnite headquarters and tell the people in charge. I'll look it up for you. Hold up, please do. Okay. Actually no. How do I go? I need a strong hook. Okay. Tite Kubo. Serialized. Shonen Jump. The first chapter of Bleach. It wouldn't take long. Alongside Naruto and One Piece, Bleach would later Bleach will later become one of the big three. One of the big three. Will later be recognized as one of the big three. A term. The term coined for these series. Three. Dominated. Shonen Weekly. Weekly Shonen Jump. Weekly Shonen Jump. I'm sure many of you already know that. I'm sure many of you already. Have you decided on the format for the video? What? I decided on doing the video sort of like this, right? I'm gonna go into a bit of an exposition about. I'm gonna go into like a bit of like a little bit of like a rhetoric. I'm gonna give you guys like a bit of like an insight as to like my original. I'm going to go into like a bit of a tangent about my original experience with Bleach, right? Reading through the chapters, playing some of the games, so on and so forth. I want to... Sengoku versus Yami's dog. Dude, Yami's... that's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, Yami's dog would probably neg Sengoku because I just don't think that Sengoku has it in him to hurt a dog. He couldn't bear Sakura 200 pumping him in the Sukuna skin. I gifted him. She never did that. She never did that. The only time I used the Sukuna skin is the one time I played with you. She never did that. It's a damn lie. Is above the concept of death, so he beats Yogiri. Yep. Bluno is ironically enough to beat Enel. Better speed scaling with a faster Luffy, and BFR with his door that Enel can't deal with. So you're making a script on how much Bleach sucks? Yep, that is exactly what is gonna happen. Morijin can die, so Yogiri beats him. You guys fail to realize it's an automatic instant death the moment you think of harming him, and if he doesn't work, he can just kill you. Also, harming does. Yeah. Harming him intentionally, I mean. Yogiri also kills concepts too. Higher dimensional beings. A robot who lives in a higher dimension refused to take Yogiri to his homeworld. Ass 6 and Flygon. When did that happen? When did that happen? I don't recall this. You guys are just making shit up. I carried you to a reload when as Sakura. Did you? I don't recall that. I don't recall that at all. My memories for this, I don't even know if that's even in my battle record. You might just be making things up. I'm going to be honest with you. Absolutely might just be making things up. Absolutely just flaunting false information. That did happen. You guys are just perpetrating. Oh yeah, I was there. Oh, with what evidence? With what evidence? It's your word versus mine, and everyone knows you guys just like to rage bait me. You have nothing here. What do you guys say? What if Yogiri kills the smoothness of Ichigo's brain? Then he'll definitely be able to imagine Chad losing. You were there too? No, the fuck you were not. You definitely were not even there. All right. I don't know if Sega didn't actually, like, ban me for that. Dog, you were not there. That's what I'm saying. Your memory is very selective. Also, I was there. I can confirm. No, the fuck you weren't! No, the fuck you were not! Alright. I'm being trolled. Alright. So, I'm gonna give you guys an idea, like, as to how my initial, introduction to Bleach and... My original introduction with Bleach originally... I can't talk right now. This isn't rage bait though. You don't want to know. You don't want me to 200 US Hinata. Then he returns to the show. He returns to the shop. I mean, you just don't want me to 200 US Hinata. I mean, I'm not gonna get 200 as Hinata because I don't really play Fortnite. Stop dodging the 1v1. I'm not dodging anybody. I'm not dodging anything. I don't play Fortnite anymore. The only thing I was good at in Fortnite when I did play was sniping. I could snipe motherfuckers from like 180 meters away or some shit. I don't play the game that well. I was never the guy to finish the games. I was the guy to like snipe motherfuckers from deep end. Is a top tier dodger? I'm not a top tier dodger. That's crazy. I'm sure many of you already know this. Actually, no. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't know how to start this. I don't want to just start off when I was... My relationship with Bleach is complicated. It's one of the big three. As one of the big three. My relationship with Bleach is complicated. Growing up, I didn't really... I watched the usual anime... Why the fuck did this turn to Ursula? The usual anime that kids in the early 2000s. Growing up, I would watch the same anime we're introduced to in the early 2000s. Anime that kids in the early to late 2000s were introduced to, like Naruto and One Piece. Granted, my initial introduction to One Piece was unfortunately the 4Kids dub. The 4Kids dub. To be fair, unfortunately the 4Kids dub. Although, in all honesty, I did enjoy. Although, in all honesty, I did enjoy the One Piece rap. I would watch. Yeah. At the time, I didn't know what anime really was. I didn't know that it was all originally Japanese, and when I heard terms like Sharingan, Rasengan, or Fortnite is a power scaling metric. In my opinion, this starts is too abrupt. You should start with something else. No, you know, you're right about it. You're right about that. I don't want this to actually be like the actual start to it, but this will be like the start to me just going into my own little like side tangent about my past with the series. I don't know how I'm gonna hook it off first. I'll probably like mess around with it later on my own time. I'm only gonna be streaming for like another 2 hours. I'm gonna step out to go on for a walk. But besides that, even if you're in a different dimension, it also auto-deaths you. If Sukuna can't beat that bum Hinata, how the fuck can he beat Madara? You're just trying to rage bait the fuck out of me, dude. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I just figured, like, I don't like the whole, like, introducing Bleach, because, like, people already know what the fuck Bleach is. You don't need me to tell you what the big three are. You don't need me to tell you what Bleach is. I don't know how I'm going to start it off yet, but I'm at least going to, like, give you an idea of, like, what my circumstances with the series were as a whole before I, you know, started reading the manga and just evolved into somebody who just straight up hates the fucking IP as a whole. I didn't know that they were, I didn't even know that they were originally Japanese. I don't know what anime really was. I didn't even know that it was originally Japanese. I didn't... They were all originally Japanese. Series like Dragon Ball, that is... Around the time that I finally got into high school. Japanese. They were Japanese. Series like Dragon Ball. Series like Dragon Ball. Saint Seiya. What was another series? Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin. No. Time I didn't know they were originally Japanese. They were all originally Japanese. Series like Dragon Ball, Roteiya, Rurouni Kenshin were things that popped up every now and then for me, and obviously the only one. Hakusho would randomly pop up. I did enjoy the One Piece. It's dozens, like One Piece. Granted, my initial introduction, although in retrospect, although in all honesty, I did like, yeah, okay. In all honesty, I did enjoy the One Piece rap. At the time, I didn't know that these. All thanks to Tsunami. Tsunami. Granted. Okay, there we go. Would randomly pop up here and there. I was oh no, actually that's not. It would pop up here, but the only one that would really gather my attention. Around the time I started high school, around the time high school, I finally, around the time I started high school, I met quite a few. Two other series. popular at the time. Code Geass, Death Note. Reborn. I can definitely say that my high school and early college life was the Actually, yeah, I think that the final bit you can end on is, but the worst part of Bleach is the Epic Games, as of this video, has no plans to add Bleach. What the fuck? That's so funny. Why is that so funny? I don't know what caught me off guard about that, Lapis, but holy shit. But the worst part of it all, the thing I can't fucking excuse, no matter what about this dog water, dog shit ass story, is that Epic Games has no plans of adding Bleach to their fucking Epic Game Fortnite. Oh, man. That's great. That's peak right there. That's peak comedy right there. You should just add a section about how much potential Bleach had and it just didn't live up to it. Yeah, I could definitely do that. No, I'm definitely doing it. So here's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna go into this mini exposition dump about, like, you know, me really getting into anime and everything, and then me finally starting reading up on Bleach. And then from there I'll transition into, like, now why am I talking about, you know, And then I move on to kind of giving, like, this bit of, the reason why I kind of want to give this exposition is to sort of give the idea that, like, you know, I did watch the series and I really did enjoy it when I was growing up. How much power do you have in Rise of Kingdom? Rise of Kingdom? I don't know what the fuck is it. What the fuck is Rise of Kingdom? Dude, I don't fucking know. I don't play this shit. What the fuck? I played Clash of Clans and I stopped after like a year. I think I stopped in less than a year. I don't like those kind of games. It takes too long. I have a 100 million power level in Rise of Kingdoms SS. Yeah. If Usopp can, then what if NL? Bro, I didn't get the meme. I don't know. I really didn't. I have screenshots of Naruto skins and leaks. And a leak Sheena and Hypex tweet in March about One Piece X Fortnite. Dude, if I don't see Luffy in Fortnite by next year, I'm gonna fucking crash out. I can definitely say that my high school and early college life was predominantly entertained by anime. It was predominantly entertained by anime. But where does Bleach fall into all of this? So where does Bleach fall into all? So where does Bleach fit into this little picture? So where does Bleach fit into this little picture? Around my freshman year. This girl I had a crush on would and why I should watch it. So many of the recommendations I had gotten were already so good. It always seemed... There's one way to describe. think if you'd ask most people... If you get at least a 1 million power in Rise of Kingdom, you can just steal somebody's girl with no consequences? That sounds crazy. I'd enjoyed some of the recommendations I'd already... And it always... I enjoyed so many of the recommendations I had received. On Late Night Tsunami. I remember being... I remember the first episode. Being Kenpachi. With Noitora. I remember the first episode I ever saw being Kenpachi Swipe. No context. No context, no idea who and can you blame me? I was... There were so many things about this series. Who was left? Who was... Like... Who was... Why does the main protagonist... And did everyone... Did I decided. Have a sword. I decided it was finally time for me to experience the series. And it was honestly okay. And I genuinely enjoyed it. Hey, what's good, Vinsmoke? Hope you're doing well, man. I'm just writing up a script, so if I'm not being very vocal right now... this might be spoilers for me. I'm just gonna go on ahead. Okay. And I genuinely enjoyed it. Designs. The Espada. Doja? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. First of all, can I just say this fucking music right here? Oh man, it really makes me want to replay Final Fantasy 16. Okay, so you want me to explain the beans joke? I got you right now, Swornum. All right. So let me just put user on timeout for 1 minute for that. Okay. So let me just explain the beans joke real quick. A while back, a couple friends of mine and I, back in like the late 2010s, we played a lot. We used to play like every night together before we only kind of left it off to like 1 day a week because, you know, we're adults now. We used to, have you ever listened to Raphael's theme from Baldur's Gate 3? No, I have not. I do own Baldur's Gate 3. I did not play it. I bought it for Christmas and I did not play it for more than an hour and 12 minutes. I did not care for Baldur's Gate 3. I bought it specifically to play with a friend of mine. He did not get it, and I never played it again. I did not like the combat system. I did not care for the way that you're supposed to move around the character. It just was not for me. I gave it an hour and 12 minutes. It probably wasn't a lot, but I'm not going back to that shit, man. Anyway, the beans joke. So we used to joke around a lot, and we used to call each other dickheads, meatheads, morons. We were acting chop. If somebody would do something just to piss off the other guy, it would be something stupid. So at one point there was a video that came out from even way farther back. It was a video of a guy that basically got called out by a couple of kids in the middle of a movie theater because apparently he was eating a can of beans. Can you slander Sabo? Sorry ass, now that Six is gone. Sabo is a character who is not Yonko level, and there's kind of no line of scaling that even remotely justifiably proves it, other than, you know, the whole him getting away from Emu and the others. But that I don't know. He's essentially going to be a top tier in the verse, and he was one of the anyway. So it was a whole video where like the guys were yelling like, "Oh, this N-word is eating beans," and then the whole movie theater started laughing at the guys. So I brought up the video to the boys. I thought it was kind of funny. He isn't Yonko level. He's Emu level. Type shit. You're right, Lapis. Yeah. Type shit. And anyway, the whole joke kind of just amounted to like me saying, "Oh, bro, why are you eating beans for, bro? Man, you like beans, you like this and that." And the bros started to like adopt that, and we ended up just turning into a whole joke where like anytime somebody does something stupid or acts again like a dickhead, like a meathead, like a fucking asshole, it's just like us essentially just saying that instead of actually saying those words. We just say you're eating beans right now, bro. Yeah, you know what you be eating, bro. You love gargling down on beans and shit. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. The joke kind of went far for us because, like, at least to me, I kind of took the joke too far and I actually stopped eating beans in real life just to keep the joke going. We still say it to one another, but yeah, this shit is kind of crazy. I just debunked you. Let it go, bro. All right. Thanks for telling me. So do you? I don't eat beans. No, I don't eat beans in real life, and I don't eat beans metaphorically in the context of the joke. Neither of them. There we go. All right, back to this. There are very few things that By the way, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. This is probably the best Bleach OST. This is probably the best thing out of the Bleach OST. Like, real talk. The way my brain would produce happy chemicals was... I can't probably express with words. So, the only thing that this might... The character designs are badass. The Espada being a group of villains. You sound weird, but I felt warm. Even... Funny enough, this wasn't... In fact... I was a relatively big fan. Let me blow my nose real quick. What admirals are stronger than Yokos? Ugh. Okay. I say all of this in order to give you an idea that I was a relatively big fan of the series at the time. Something that what makes Aokiji stronger than Blackbeard? Because there's nothing that inherently proves that. Like, you might have some evidence by saying the whole, like, interaction between him and Blackbeard, but Blackbeard also knows when to pick and choose his fights. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that. I don't agree with it because nothing inherently proves it. You can make the interpretation that Aokiji is stronger than him, but you cannot outright prove it. He's never fought Blackbeard, and there's like no actual statement that says, yeah, no, Aokiji would straight up beat Blackbeard in a fight. It's interpretation, but if you're just gonna say, well, the scene back there, and then he fights Garp, yeah, that Garp hasn't fought another Yonko, so, and Garp is clearly not as strong as he used to be. Okay. But something I can say now that I wouldn't have... consume. I didn't really consume... Rewatch. I remember Yeah, but he's a Yonko, and Yonko are, again, consistently just played more to be more powerful than Admirals. Yeah, that's kind of the reasoning. Like, it's either you think Aokiji's stronger or you think Blackbeard's stronger, that's fine. I just go with Blackbeard because, again, Yonkos are consistently revealed to be more powerful than Admirals. That's my only line of reasoning. I'm not saying that it is objectively true that Blackbeard beats Aokiji. I'm just saying there is, technically speaking, more evidence that consistently the Yonko are more powerful. But that's my only real argument. Run away from... Blackbeard's run away from really, even though he admitted he would have lost, so it doesn't really mean much. I have no idea what you're trying to say with this. I genuinely have no idea what you're trying to say with this. Blackbeard ran away from really, even though he thought he admitted he would have lost, he doesn't really mean much. I think you meant Rayleigh. Blackbeard ran away from Rayleigh even though he admitted he would have lost, so it doesn't... No, Rayleigh said he would have lost. Yeah, no. But here's the thing. Rayleigh said we're lucky... Rayleigh basically said, no, we're lucky that my notoriety, that my name still holds weight, because I don't think I would have been able to beat Teach. So, quite the opposite, actually. Blackbeard ran away because he respected Rayleigh, but Rayleigh even stated, like, no, if he stayed, yeah, we would have lost. I don't know about that. Oh, that is what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. I remember... Not properly understanding the... as an example... Yes. Following. Side. Like, Villetta knew her memories and Jeremiah Gottwald become... Jeremiah Goswald. Gottwald. Cyborg. Ooh, you guys are about to be in for some shit. Ooh. Alright. I wasn't really follow. Because I didn't really... The same could be said for Bleach. The same could be said for Bleach. It wasn't... It was... I was so... I was taken in by the... Let me see if I'm using this word in the right tense. I was so combat scenes, I never really followed the story as a whole. I never really followed the story or the characters. Don't get me wrong, the plot was fine enough to understand. Years now. But years down the line, back in the funny enough, it was around this time. It was around. That I started were Thousand-Year Blood War. Are you going to compare Bleach to any particular series? So, if you guys haven't been, like, you know, paying attention to the things that I've been writing, I'm just sort of giving an idea as to, like, what my experience with it was, how did I get into it, and how I went into this. Right now, I'm kind of just talking about me actually beginning my initial... like, I guess, like, the starting stages of, like, me getting into reading manga as a whole, because I didn't really read manga until I was already, like, near the end of high school, and I really only focused on Naruto and Bleach. There will be things that I do compare with Bleach about other series, although I will be making it a point later on towards the end of the video saying that, like, listen, you can bring up any other series, you can talk about JJK and its ending, you can talk about One Piece and its One Piece and its pacing issues. You can talk about Naruto and how it also doesn't really utilize all of its characters very well. That is all completely fine. I'm not going to go out of your... Did you learn how to tell if a manga is good? I didn't know at the time. I didn't know at the time, or at least I didn't... Well, here's the thing, right? I'll be honest with you, when I was growing up, I used to always think that I was, like, right about everything. I used to think that, like, you know, like, my opinion was the only one that matters and everything I thought was objective, right? It took me a while to, like, really realize that, like, you know, opinions are just opinions and that's all that really matters. Your opinion is worth as much as mine, and just because I have a platform or whatever doesn't mean that my opinion really matters about anything any more than anybody else's, especially if it's on a topic of conversation that is completely subjective. Obviously, some people with platforms that do go into more objective metrics for different things, they can probably have, like, a more... they can probably have like a more well-educated opinion on something else, but that's neither here nor there, and that's not really relevant to our topic of conversation. It's not about whether or not something is good or bad. I mean, Bleach, objectively speaking, is successful and it is popular for a reason. The term good can really just depend on the context that we're talking about, right? I think that there are some good aspects about it. I don't think that it is objectively good by every single metric, especially when it comes to its execution, but that's neither here nor there. I think that what I'll do is that I'll just give a couple of examples about other series that do similar things that end up having like executions that I do prefer. I will talk about, you know, most of my points won't be like comparing it to other series, though. The reason why I'm talking about other series like Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh, Code Geass, etc., is to just sort of build like this idea for the reader, for the viewer, that like I'm not someone who just hated Bleach for no fucking reason and just hates on it because there's something about it that innately upsets me. Right? That's not the reason. I feel like this kind of little exposition dump is kind of important because it sort of serves to explain to you, the viewer, that like, yeah, I'm not just some biased dude that just hates on it for no fucking reason. I do have my reasons. I still can't understand how you drop Hunter x Hunter when it's copied so much, because I'll explain it like this. Whatever you think Naruto copied from Hunter x Hunter, it made it more interesting. It really just is that simple. It made it more interesting for me. Hunter x Hunter does not have interesting character designs. I don't like the drip. I don't know why people say that Gon has that shit on him. He wears mini green shorts and a matching green jacket, and that's it. The guy's outfit really just wears a wife beater, and that's it. I don't care about the drip. Killua does not have that shit on him. He wears a lavender shirt with a dark blue long sleeve shirt underneath and shorts. That is not drip. The characters do not seem interesting even in the slightest bit. I am not going to sit here and read a dog shit ass story that is going to have a bunch of exposition dumps just for me to eventually reach the latest chapter, just for me to say, oh man, I really wish that the series could continue. I wonder how this next Dark Continent arc is going to go through, just for me to sit here and wait 5 years for what's-his-face to drop another chapter. Like, there's nothing about Hunter x Hunter that even remotely interests me in the slightest bit, and trying to get into it nowadays just won't do anything for me. Gon is not supposed to be lovable. Same problem with Naruto. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're meant to be lovable in the slightest bit. That's not the issue. It's just, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I just don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, there's just nothing about Hunter x Hunter that even draws me in, and it having an interesting power system, as everyone seems to tell me the same thing, it's not enough. I need a combination of things for me specifically, and I feel like this is the case with everybody else, or at least with a good number of other people. I need a constant mixture of things to go well, and with a series like, I'll even be honest with you. I'll actually show you right now. I'll actually show you right now. 7 Deadly Sins. I'll be real with you when I say, listen, the art style for 7 Deadly Sins was something that I can genuinely say from the bottom of my heart I do not care for. I do not like the art style. I don't like how Meliodas and everybody else looks like these childish faces. Obviously not Escanor, this old dude, or these guys, but like they literally look like they have the faces of actual babies. And I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't like the fits, I don't like the looks. Diana looks fine by me, but it just wasn't a thing. I gave it a look at eventually, and I was like, you know what, there are other aspects that I like about it. I like how the characters all feel strong. There was a little bit of mystery, even though like the plot isn't really anything, isn't all that. It isn't just another series of like a group of very powerful characters fighting a group of very powerful people. It's fine. I don't think it's... Deadly Sins began at one of its final arcs. I don't know about What do you mean it began at one of its final arcs? I don't know what that means. Like the series as a whole was okay to me. Like I did give it a watch. I did get to the point where like the good animation turned bad and the characters end up like looking like dog shit. I gave like the last couple of series. I do agree that Togashi is way too much exposition heavy. Some chapters are just full of little novels. Yeah, I agree. Like, here's the thing. And Seven Deadly Sins, they kind of, like, hit other points for me that eventually I was like, okay, I can see where Meliodas, besides the whole groping Elizabeth stuff, might be likable as a character. I find him funny. I like his whole interaction with Bond and the way that, like, they just beat on each other. Escanor throws me off because, I don't know, it's maybe the mustache that makes me not like him. It's maybe, like, the mustache. I don't know what it is about it. But, like, I still sat there and I was like, all right, you know, I can sit through this. Obviously Merlin is Merlin. Gowther, I don't have any very strong feelings of. He just feels weird to me as a whole. But, like, I could definitely say that even beyond art style, like, I am willing to give a series whose art style I genuinely do not care for. I do not like this art style. It does not jive with me. I feel like the character proportions are weird, but it's fine. As long as nobody else on this stream cares if you spoil Hunter x Hunter, you're more than welcome to. If somebody in the chat doesn't want to be spoiled on HXH, you can just type it in right now and then just don't do it. But if nobody cares, go ahead. Yeah, no, I don't like Escanor. The whole idea of like I am the Lion Sin of Pride, it's fine. I just don't like the character design. I don't like his proportions either. Not because like he's big muscly man. I mean, I like her, but it's because I don't know. It's some of like the images where it just looks like he's all neck. Like right here, this is just not human proportions in the slightest bit. The dude's like spine must have like stretched out fivefold. I don't know. Like why is his waist so low, but then all of this is just waist and midsection and abs. I feel like 80% of his body is just his upper body. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And I'm not even saying this because like he looks like he missed leg day. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the characters are either too short or they're just completely stretched out. It's not on me, all right? That's not on me. Okay. I remember just clicking on a random chapter and saw Kenpachi fighting Grammy. Fighting Grammy with his famous fighting. I remember just clicking on a random chapter and saw Kenpachi fighting Grammy. Although I didn't go out of my way. I didn't know who this was, why they were fighting, who this was, why they were fighting. Who this was. In truth, I never actually read the entire. How far does Mr. Frog get into Bleach? Mr. Frog crashes out. I'll give you an idea right now. Yeah, I think he gets pretty fucking far. I think Mr. Frog gets pretty fucking far. I'll throw that again. Yeah. Yeah, about that far. Okay. When I was a kid. I skimmed through the dialogue. Started around the second invasion. Defeat. So Yuhabaka versus an Elden Ring lobster. Aster, you know as well as I do that those lobsters can snipe you away from across the fucking realm. Those things aren't fair, all right? So so yeah, no, I don't know if that's innately a fair comparison right there. Like Yuhabaka, sure, he can see the future, but what does it matter if he can quote unquote change the future when every future just automatically leads him into getting hit by the lobster, regardless. It doesn't matter if he's in the Soul Society. If he's got the lobster's aggro, he's gonna get shot all the way down from the lands between. What do you mean? So I closed the chapter in my life and moved on to other stories. There's a reason why I had to give you... Big reason why... 1 second, guys. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. I should have probably paused the music because I think this might actually demonetize the stream. So if anybody does anything, I might have to... If anybody, like, donates or anything, I might not get it at all. You're right. The lobster versus Chad is much closer. Also, I was wrong. It's not a lobster. It's a massive crayfish. It is a crayfish. But who gives a shit? Why should I respect that thing? Why should we respect those fucking lobsters? What? Is the lobster gonna fucking sue me? Am I gonna be canceled because I called a crayfish a lobster? Those fucking crustacean fucks. I don't respect them. They've been sniping me off my fucking horse torrent for years. I think it's about time that we stop with the abuse. I think it's about time that we stop being harassed by these fuck-ass, stupid-ass cockroaches of the fucking sea, man. Fuck those lobsters. I don't care. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what everybody else is thinking here. Those lobsters with the hard R. Fucking crazy. I hate those lobsters. Specifically those lobsters from Elden Ring. No, don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. Yeah. You're supposed to call them a crayfish, brother. Crayfish. There's a biological... I don't give a shit, man. Fuck those lobsters. Pieces of shit. God damn it. Out here telling me that, oh, I'm on the other side of the map. Oh, here, just get fucking waterboarded. Yeah, no. By the way, would you guys... I'm not saying that I'm gonna do this, but, like... I feel like people really do over-exaggerate. But that is not what happened in the manga. Get lobbed, scrub. You're calling me a scrub, but I used... You call me a scrub, but I, in fact, used a mage build. So if anything, I was circling around them with my staff and my horse, blasting them with magical spells until they died. They didn't know what the fuck was coming. Also, I'm not gonna lie. Speaking of getting waterboarded... Also, if I'm mistaken, what they shoot at you is a stream of waste. Yeah, no, it is actual piss. If you didn't know, they actually just, they released their piss. They've been covering us in their urine and their waste for a long time now, and I think it's about time that we just say enough. Fuck them. No, there's no time. There's no reason to respect them. Drop a fucking neutron, a dying neutron star at those fuckers. You guys are just going off about it. Back and forward, back and forward. Alright. I'm over it. I go. There's a big reason why I had to go through this whole... How to cure agenda? Huh. If you've been watching my videos, Chad versus a regular real life mantis shrimp. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't talk shit about mantis shrimp. Those fuckers, they have like the fastest and most powerful punch relative to their size of the animal kingdom. I don't know, man. Mantis shrimps are kind of crazy. I don't know what Chad's gonna do to them, especially if he's only gonna fight for himself. What he's gonna do? Fight for himself? He's not fighting for anybody else. The mantis shrimp wouldn't come after anybody else. No, it would come after Chad. And he can't just fight back for his own sake. He promised his abuelo he wasn't gonna fight back for his own sake. So yeah, he just loses. In fact, as I prior to release it, joining my live streams prior to the release of this video, you can easily come to the conclusion that I don't like Bleach. In fact, a few people that have even convinced themselves that I have some kind of deep-seated hatred and I simply didn't understand the series. That I simply didn't understand the story. And I went into this. I hope we get a giant mantis shrimps in the next Souls game. I do too. I think they're really cool. And I went into this read through. Did you ever think about playing Bloodborne? I have played Bloodborne. I technically do own it. Would you guys like to watch me play Bloodborne on stream? I wouldn't necessarily mind. I think I still have my save file. I can always just like re-download it and just start it up. I wish I could play Bloodborne, but it was only on PS4. No, it's on PS5. It's on PS5. I got it for free. Well, that, to be fair, I do have... I had a part of the video about top 13 frauds of Bleach would be hilarious. I'll probably do that at a different video. I'm not going to do it for this one. I went into this... And I went into this recent read-through. With no intention of liking anything about it. In truth, spearing mantis shrimps would make for the best ambush enemies. That'd be kind of crazy. Or like, what if the mantis shrimps had like some other smaller mobs around them? Maybe think of them like little like roly-poly little sea creature likes. That they can like send knocking towards you from like long distances. You know what I mean? It's like instead of like a stream hitting you from across the map, they can like literally not rapid fire, but they can literally like punch away like other ads to attack you, and then the ads just come after you. Like separately, they're not like a big deal. And the mantis shrimp is only, and it only has like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of these little fuckers to like attack you with. Okay. As I read... I started to read more stories. As I started to read... As I... I wasn't initially that excited. In truth, I wasn't initially excited to read through the series. As the years went... Since I put it down, as I put it down, because I hadn't consumed anything Bleach related. I hadn't consumed anything since I first put it down. Wasted. Best girl in Elden Ring? I like Melina and Ronnie personally. I remember in my first playthrough I did the Ronnie side quest. I ended up getting her ending. And then I like Malenia. I really do like Malenia in concept. I hate the fucking boss fight, but I do like Malenia in concept. Granted, when I refought her on my second playthrough, she was just kind of an easy curb stomp. What did you drop it? Was it for damage? What did you drop it? What are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? What did you drop it? I am clicking on it. What the fuck? Alright, there we go. Looks good. Yeah, no, fuck ads. Keep item hidden. Yeah, fuck the ads. We don't do ads. What did you drop Bloodborne? Oh, just no, I just didn't care for it. I don't know. I think what I liked about a game like Elden Ring is that I could just go in any direction, and if I wasn't strong enough to do something, I could always just come back and do it later. With Bloodborne, I never got past the first boss because I was just like, I don't feel like learning this. I don't know. Skill issue, if you want to say skill issue, sure, but I've also beaten Lies of P while fighting bosses that beat my ass and just kind of went back to it. I don't know, there's just something about Bloodborne that just doesn't interest me. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's just like the seemingly Victorian era or whatever. I didn't care for like the weapons, I don't know, just the whole like shotgun on the left, thing on the right, the weapon transforming. I feel like it's a lot. And I never know like what exactly is good. My thing about these games is that like I don't want to I want to be able to play through the game. Yeah, like I don't know. I just never know whether or not I should use like the long range version of the weapons, like the heavy versions of the weapons, or I should use like the light, like faster versions. I don't know what's good in the game, and I don't want to have to go out of my way to like. With Elden Ring was a bit different because like with Elden Ring there was just so much customization that like I could genuinely go like any route and it felt like, you know, I was doing something right, but so it didn't feel bad when I did it. But like a game like Bloodborne, I feel like if I have to just look up like what the best like builds are and all this stuff for it, I'm already kind of, I don't mind it, but it's like if I feel like I have to like just figure out like what's already good with the game first so I could just beat the first boss because I don't feel like having to learn shit. I don't know, it just doesn't do it. There's just something about it that doesn't do it for me. I know that people love it. I know that people say it's like amazing and everything. It's like one of the better Souls-like series, and I'm not here to like refute that. I didn't really give the game a try, so it's just to me it just did not. You can't handle a roguelike. I can handle roguelikes. I played plenty of roguelikes before. I've beaten a couple of roguelikes. I've beaten Wizard of Legends, Balatro, what the fuck was that one? The one with the cards. Not the other, not Balatro, but the other one. Slay the Spire. I've beaten Hades. I actually got like the one of the endings for. I got like I think the true ending for Hades. No, yeah, skill issue, 100%. I just don't care for it. But also in part, I just don't care for it. Like Bloodborne's just not a game that like makes me feel like I want to get good at it. I don't know. That's just me though. Maybe beat those on max difficulty. I don't need to beat a game on max difficulty to say that I beat it. I don't agree with the whole like, oh, you got to beat the game on max difficulty or whatever. I don't like that kind of shit. Damn, Kiki got so big. Aw, cute dog. Every time One Piece reveals a new piece of Shanks' past, it was less like lore and more like a warning. This man wasn't just present in history, he is history. Type shit. Call for a fresh ban. This card hasn't even been in the format for 2 weeks. Yeah. The fuck is this? Why am I getting... Why am I getting things for, like, dating people? Aizen without the Hogyoku, but no one in that verse can beat Aizen. It's my favorite boss of all time. Bloodborne is my favorite boss of all time. Is Blood... So there's like an actual boss in the game called the Bloodborne. Just as I expected, can only handle roguelite. No, I can handle a good number of games. Oh. As your favorite boss of all time. Okay. Got you. What's your favorite boss? I don't know what my favorite boss of all time is. I guess I do like a lot of the ones from Armored Core. Anyway, back to this. I only got like 30 more minutes to hang out with you guys and just yo. The gestural combat battles are so good. Alright. But a part of me to fully dive since it's consumption. In fact, the only thing I wasn't looking forward to was the first arc. Okay. If there's one word that can easily describe Bleach, there is... What's the series? This series is... Yeah, you can spoil it for me. You can 100% spoil it for me, man. I don't mind that. Like, here's the thing about Souls-likes. Here's the thing about Souls-likes in general. Hey, what's up, Memento? Here's the thing about Souls-likes in general. You can kind of spoil things about Souls-likes, and it kind of doesn't matter. Because when it comes to Souls-like, it's like, oh, what's the hardest boss in Elden Ring? It's probably like Millennia or Radon, or like the final Radon fight. Oh my god, you spoiled it. Yeah, no, it's just all the fights are hard, bro. You're just being told what the hardest one is. I don't know, like, when somebody spoils things about, like, Souls-likes, it's like, most people, I feel like, or at least I can say, like, I'm one of those people that doesn't play Souls-likes for, like, the lore or the story or any of that crap. I could give 2 fiddly fucks and 2 tears in a bucket about the story or the lore, because it's like, you're really there just to fight through monsters, beat through things. Again, not to say that everyone is, but you could just go in there, fight monsters, beat things, and then just do your thing and whatever, you know, like, it's fine. God, there's a lot of smiling friend shit in my feed. What the fuck?
Hey Charlie, have you seen The Boss lately?
No, I haven't. Why?
They weren't in English, and then
Really? Well, I haven't seen it like in a week.
Wayne, is that...
Ludwig the Accursed. I'll check out who that is if I ever get back into the game. I could probably do like a stream for Bloodborne at some point. I remember somebody saying that like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was like really easy and the parry system just breaks the whole game and everything, but I feel like they're just not aware that it's revolved around you parrying. I don't know. I see some bad takes every now and then. Some people just have really bad takes. Okay, how can I start off this fucking goddamn script? Let's see. My relationship with Bleach is complicated. Growing up, I would watch the same anime that kids in the early to late 2000s were introduced to. I would watch the same anime we're introduced to, like Naruto and One Piece. All thanks to Toonami. Granted, my initial introduction to One Piece was, unfortunately, the 4Kids dubbed, which would later result in me putting it away until I was around 15. Although, in all honesty, but to be fair, although in all honesty, I did enjoy the One Piece rap. At the time, I didn't know what anime really was. I didn't even know that they were all originally Japanese. Series like Dragon Ball, Saint Seiya, Rurouni Kenshin, and Yu Yu Hakusho would randomly pop up here and there, but the only one that would really garner my attention was Dragon Ball. Around the time I started high school, By the time I started high school, I met quite a few classmates that would introduce me to other series that were popular at the time, like Code Geass, Death Note, Beelzebub, and Katekyo Hitman Reborn. And I would even find a few of my own. School Rumble, Beelzebub. School Rumble is such a throwback because I didn't even remember what the fuck this was until a friend of mine invited me to their Thanksgiving dinner with their family, and they had like some thing up for like random anime that their father liked. And yeah, one of them was School Rumble, and I was like, holy shit, that brings back memories. This is actually one of the first animes that like I really sat down to watch after I learned what anime really was. First Souls boss to ever have a cutscene for a phase transition, and that cutscene's absolutely peak. That's nice. I could definitely go back to Bloodborne. Like, Bloodborne isn't one of those things that like I'll never go back to. I did actually play a little bit with my cousin, who was gifted a PS4 from their friend like this past summer. My cousin and I just sat down and I played a bit of Bloodborne, but then I ended up losing like a bunch of blood, so I was like, fuck it, I can't sit through this. Man, I just have to go back and just like be more careful. My Thanksgiving was good, Six. Thank you for asking. The friend that invited me, her family is vegetarian / vegan, so there was no turkey. I had a lot of food that honestly I was kind of surprised to it being good. They also had like some non-vegan mac and cheese, which I can say fucking slapped. I literally had to tell like her sister, like, yo, no funny shit, can I be honest with you? Can I be honest? Like, first time meeting her, I was like, yo, can I be real with you? This mac and cheese, bussin', respectfully, bussin', absolutely bussin', respectfully. But yeah, is there any point in the story where Zoro is stronger than Luffy, or at least equal? You can kind of argue it around East Blue to Whiskey Peak, since Zoro and Luffy basically tell each other, let's finally figure out which of us is the strongest. Yeah. Or just rhythm games without the reaction. I don't know about that. I can definitely say that my high school and early college life was predominantly entertained by anime. So, where does Bleach fit into this little picture? Around my freshman year of high school, I had a girl I had a crush on would tell me about Bleach and why I should watch it. I enjoyed so much of the recommendations I had received, and at the time, it was the one series that I would catch bits and pieces of on late night Toonami. I remember the first episode I ever saw was Kenpachi's fight with Noritora. With no context, no idea of any of these guys, no idea who any of these guys are, let alone who was the good guy, no, who was good and who was bad, let alone who was good and who was bad, let alone who was good and who was bad, and who was good, who was bad, who was the good guy, was and to be honest, can you really blame me? Both of these guys looked absolutely insane. I was left wondering so many things, like, who were these people? Like, who were these people? Why does the main protagonist have a large butcher knife? Does everyone use a sword? And most importantly, why does the music hit so hard? To this day, Shoujo S by Scandal is still one of the best opening theme songs I've ever heard. I decided it was finally time for me to experience the series, and I genuinely enjoyed it. The character designs are badass, the series is filled with awesome sword fights, where the swords become different weapons and concepts. The Espada being a group of villains themed after different methods or concepts of death, the utilization of Spanish for many of the enemies' attacks and abilities, and once again, the music. The way my brain would produce happy chemicals while listening to Nube Negra is something I can't properly express with words. It may sound weird, but I felt that I was more mature for simply watching Bleach. At the time, I had even created my own Zanpakuto that would split into 2 blades for the Shikai that manipulated lightning and fire, and they would become 3 blades for the Bankai, where the third blade would manipulate darkness. Funny enough, this wasn't inspired by Zoro since I didn't get back into One Piece until about a year later. In fact, I got my inspiration from the Three Sacred Beasts of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I say all of this in order to give you an idea that I was a relatively big fan of the anime at the time, but something that I can say now is that I didn't really consume every aspect of the media that I would watch. As an example, while I did enjoy Code Geass, I recall having difficulties following the entire plot and all of its subplots like Valletta Nu losing her memories and Jeremiah Gottwald turning himself into a cyborg because I mostly focused on the cool mech combat. The same could be said for Bleach. I was so enraptured by the music, character designs, and combat scenes that I never really followed the story or the characters. Don't get me wrong, the plot was easy enough to understand, but years down the line, I always felt like I didn't truly understand every aspect of Bleach. Funny enough, it was around my last year of high school that I started reading manga. I only focused on Naruto and Bleach since both series were getting to their respective ends. Naruto was in the latter half of the Fourth Great Ninja War, and Bleach was in the Thousand Year Blood War. I remember just clicking on a random chapter and saw Kenpachi fighting Remy, and I didn't know who this was, why they were fighting, but he sliced the giant meteor in half, so I didn't really care. In truth, I never actually read the entirety of the Thousand Year Blood War as a kid. I skimmed through the dialogue, started around the second invasion, and just looked up the Bleach fan wiki to get a quick synopsis. Bleach eventually ended, and I remember not liking the Quincy Arrow being the cause of Yhwach's defeat, so I closed that chapter of my life and moved on to other stories. No offense, but I think that you should cut the description of Zanpakuto. Some people might take it as cringy, and it doesn't add much. It's sort of to give you this idea that, like, you know, I genuinely did like the series. I was so, like, enraptured by it that I was, like, thinking up like anyone would. Like, anyone who, let's be honest here. Anybody who actually watched Bleach growing up as a kid, the haters of the video will say you crush, didn't give you no buns, so you bleach. That's fine. I mean, it's true, but it's not, the crush not give me any buns. But, no, I don't do it out of spite. It's fine. Bleach is so successful because it was an isekai, I guess. It's more so like just about an idea of like giving you that, like, yeah, no, I was just your average Bleach fan. I had thought up of my own Zanpakuto. I had a hollow mask, all these shits, man. Like, it's fine, man. I think it's fine. It's supposed to give you also like a bit more of a personality into who I am as a person, you know. I feel like something that actually helps out a lot of YouTubers. Funny enough, something I don't know if like you guys may have picked up on it. Besides the whole like, it's not okay. It's not. I'm getting a lot farther into myself and I'm already countering my own points without even thinking about it. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. If you look at like YouTubers and just like the concept of YouTube as a whole, as a social media site, as a media site, you can say that created a Zanpakuto for you, but what does it make to, but what does it might be taken as? I don't care about it being taken as like cringy fanfic. It's not like I was sitting here fighting alongside Ichigo and Aizen. I just thought up of my own Zanpakuto because I thought it was cool. I don't. It is, but I also don't think it's an important detail. But it's about it's about you as a viewer getting to understand me as like someone who's taking in the story. I'm not just some guy that started reading Bleach like out of nowhere for any fucking reason, just because I don't like it. And it's not like I didn't give it a chance. I'm here telling you that like I did have a connection with the series. I did want to partake in it. I just gave us all teens the edgy based that we wanted. Yeah, that's really what it is. If some people find it as cringe, that's on them. For me, it's not to be cringe. For me, it's not even supposed to be an important detail. It's just to show you guys that, again, I'm a human like anybody else. I want to show people that like there are things that like these series, especially when you're a teenager, especially when you're a kid growing up, they can make you watch this and like make you think like, oh man, what if I'm building up a foundation and a connection. Exactly. It's like if you've ever watched Naruto growing up, like I had my own fucking jutsu. I would think up of like yin and yang release before Kishimoto ever did yin yang release. I remember when I was like 9 years old and I found out about the concept of yin and yang, and I was like, oh wait, they're ninjas, and they're also talking about like all these chakra forms. What if I had a chakra type that no one else had, and I called it yin yang release, and later again Kishimoto later on just added yin yang, and I was like, okay, well that was a stupid concept for me, but hey, it was cool. But as an adult, it doesn't hold up as well as it did for me in 16. Everything is bad. I mean, you could always make up right now, shit. Make one up right now. You can be creative. It's about showing that, like, you know, even as a kid, you know, you can have all this creativity, that it's making all those creative juices flow. I watched Rurouni Kensei more realistic special swords, and I found most of the Zanpakuto kind of cringe. That's fair. Like, if somebody finds it cringe, I think that's fine. I don't care. I mean, yeah, I was a cringy 16-year-old who tried to be cool and deep and badass. How do you write so fast with ADHD? I just forget to write half the phrases in my head. You'd be surprised, but like when I say that I really don't do much outside of you'd be surprised, but when I say like I don't do much when I like close up stream and I go like, you know, either go on walks or go talk to my mom and like just watch some Great British Baking and stuff like that. In reality, when I'm like even in like the spaces in between that, I'm constantly thinking about like scripts and what I can write, because I wanna write my scripts in a way that humanizes me more as a content creator. Something that a lot of people don't honestly always see, or at least if you're not like on the focus of being like a content creator for YouTube, is that within these sites, you're not just like selling a product or entertaining people, you're also letting people get to know you. Not every YouTuber does it. I mean, so many YouTubers also don't show their faces. You'll never know what they look like. But I feel like the YouTubers that do face reveals, they can kind of get in a way, not get in a way. They can sort of become easier for us as viewers to kind of. There's kind of two ways of looking at it, right? Like, if you show your face to the world and you show them, like, who you are, and you're not afraid to, like, put yourself out there, especially for people, especially depending on the kind of, like, content that you make, it'll actually be easier for people to subscribe to you, people to get to know you, because you're essentially putting yourself out there and being vulnerable to other people. The same exact opposite could be said for some people that also never show their faces. Like, I know, what was it? Corpse Husband? I never watched his content. I only found out about him, like, 2 or 3 years ago. Based on like a video that I saw about like his voice or whatever. Where like, you know, there's always like the mystery of who the person is or whatever, but I'm not necessarily somebody who has like a naturally deep voice or whatever to like bring up the mysticism of it, right? Like, sometimes for people it's the mystery, sometimes for people it's just getting to know the individual. So in my case, it's just like, eventually I am going to do a face reveal eventually. And part of this video is also show you guys that, like, you know, like, I'm not coming from a place of hate. I'm coming from a place of, I was a fan of the series, I'm no longer a fan of the series. I do have nostalgia for it, but it doesn't prevent me from also picking apart. But it also doesn't prevent me from picking apart the things about the series that I don't like. Did you sue Kishimoto? No. I couldn't sue Kishimoto. I was a tiny child that didn't know what the concept of suing was until I was already, like, in my college years. There's a big reason why I go into this whole tangent and this whole mini life story. This whole tangent. Enjoying my life. I don't like Bleach. In fact, there are a few people. Okay. Funny enough, it was my high school. I didn't know the characters. I didn't read the book about. Okay, so there's a big reason why I have to go into this whole side tangent. If you've been joining my live streams prior to the release of this video, you can easily come to the conclusion that I don't like Bleach. In fact, a few people have even convinced themselves that I have some kind of deep-seated hatred for the series, that I simply don't understand the story, and I went into this recent read-through with no intentions of liking anything about it. In truth, I wasn't initially excited to read through the story. I hadn't consumed anything related to the story since the time I first put it down, and I recalled certain things about the story being frustrating to talk to, about like some of the characters. If you're feeling wasted, years later, but a part of me did want to fully dive into the manga, especially since it's my preferred form of media consumption. In fact, it's also the other reason for this is because my other reason for this is to show you guys. In fact, my other reason there are two big reasons. My second reason is quite simple. Simple. I do have nostalgia for the series. For this series. I made my own Sanpakuto for. I do have nostalgia. I do have do have nostalgia for the series, but that doesn't prevent me. But nostalgia doesn't prevent me. Second reason. It's to show you guys that I do have nostalgia. It's to show you guys. It's to show that I do have some nostalgia. It's to show you guys that I do have some nostalgia. But nostalgia doesn't prevent me from calling things I don't like. More often than not, people. It's because of nostalgia. Calling out things. I'm like, nostalgia is. It's often because of that we look past certain flaws, that we look past certain flaws of how prevalent or they may be. They may be. I wanted to, well, I may not have been looking. Well, there were parts of me that may not have been looking. As a matter of fact, hey, what's up, Six? What do you think about the comment from the other stream, the VOD defending because of its philosophical things? Well, I will say this. I am kind of disappointed in some ways based on like some of the interactions that I saw in regards to. I was kind of disappointed in some of like the conversations that I saw regarding some of the responses for like, you know, between chat and this person. This person's going to that. We already know the manga. It's not that deep. Let me see. Not this one. Don't address the points. Like, I can be honest, and not to put him on blast. I just didn't like some of the responses that like Thor's Hammer had. It was kind of like just writing off the person's. It was kind of like just writing off the person's, this individual's like reasoning behind you know, why they enjoyed Bleach and enjoying like the philosophies and the metaphysical layers that Kubo wanted to like add to his story, right? Like it's one thing to like not agree with them, but I just didn't really just like the responses back and forth, because it made it feel like this person may just not come back to this channel or may not want to interact with this community, because it would sort of felt like, at least if I were in their shoes, it kind of felt like they were being attacked for just simply trying to express the things that they liked about Bleach and why I should probably give it a chance. I did reply on my own end. If you guys want me to read through the comment, I'll be honest with you, a lot of it was me waking up in the middle of like I did wake up. It was basically like the first thing I did. When I woke up that day, let me see what it, you're basically saying nothing well written here, just based on random philosophy, and random philosophers is good enough, and of mental and meaningless actions. Like, I don't know, these comments kind of felt a bit rough, whether or not you felt like, you know, it was fine or fair. It did feel like it was a bit rough for the person, and I don't know, if they don't come back, I mean, it's fine. I'm not gonna like ban anybody here because they, you know, they may have scared somebody off. It's less that, it's more so just the idea that, like, you know, I don't want to build I don't want to build a community where, like, you know, people just say like, oh, blah 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 blah, you like it, we don't, that's all that there is to it. You know, like, at least if you're going to like comment on somebody's thing, try to truly interact with it through and through. Don't just say you wrote a bunch of nothing and then just leave it at that. I'd rather there be an actual back and forth rather than na 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 na, I don't care, you suck. Not to say that anybody here said that person sucks, but I just don't like that. That was kind of like the big thing that I kind of took from it. I just didn't really like that. Don't you smell those great beans in the morning? Alright, yeah, I disagree with the guy, but dismissing his opinion, that wasn't really different from the guys in the chat defending Bleach with no argument. Yeah, no, you shouldn't dismiss somebody's opinion, and if you're gonna comment on it, I do believe that you have to just have a whole interaction with it, right? Let's see. Oh yeah, you also said, I disagree with what you said. I don't think it's fair to assume that Kuro didn't plan anything. More so, it evolved to his lackluster formula in his fights. I might have been a bit far for me to say that. I do think you should read Fairy Tail. It's peak, it's not peak. I just want to rant about the last arc and half with somebody who read it. I could read it for it. I may not look at it's not definitely not even in my top 10 list of things I'm going to look at eventually. But I mean, if you want to pay me like $200, I don't know. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying if you want to pay me like $200 so I read through it, I can. I'll read through it entirely. I don't mind doing that shit. How many chapters is Fairy Tail? If it's like 300 or 400 chapters, I can get through it pretty quickly. Let's see. So, somebody here had asked, yeah, Dio, you had asked about like the philosophical undertones. So to give you guys a context as to what I replied to it, yeah, I know I gave a very long comment in and of itself because. Yeah, you should always try to have a healthy discussion. Just don't throw away insults, and also don't try to like, you know, just don't try to like say that whatever they wrote, especially if they went into like the effort of like, you know, writing in an entire long ass paragraph. Don't go out of your way to just say, okay, blah blah blah, whatever. I've done it sometimes with some like very long comments that I've gotten, but it's usually people say you're wrong because like you completely misinterpreted, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah, Yonko X, Admiral Agenda, bullshit. I don't really care, but. I also blasted the guy who replied to my comment. Let's see. Did you blast? Okay. Yo, there were like 19 replies here. Yeah, I stopped. 1 second, guys. 1 second. I think I'm being called. Alright. So what exactly happened here? My tire. Oh yes, by the way, Diode. Can you guys let me know right now? I did want to, for the format of the video, I did want to actually, if you guys are okay with it, take some of the comments that I've gotten throughout my last couple of streams, and then essentially just like, I can cover your names if you want to, but I also want to show that like, there are people within the community that also do not like Bleach, and they have a fuck ton of reasons as to why they don't like it, and why they have these issues, right? It's just to show that it's not just me that dislikes it. It's the one at the very top, like the second or third comment. No, I got you. It's right here, right? I just want to know if like anybody would be upset with me like taking some of the comments from like these sections and essentially just like putting them into it just to say that like, listen, these issues don't just surface from me, right? Other people also have issues with the story that seem to be very similar. We all know you read the goon bait parts frequently. Just read the other 40% of the story. I'm not doing that, and you're making shit up. I did not just read the goon bait. I did not look at the one chapter that you told me to check out because I 100% wanted to stay away from it. I did not just look at the images and then just close the page. That's something that I clearly did not fucking do. But and there's no reason for you to ask me or even pry about it anymore, or else I'm gonna fucking time you out. But yeah, no, it's just more so one of these cases where like, yeah, man, I don't know, just Fairy Tail's kind of mid. There's a scene in the anime where Shunzui give Ichigo's friends a ticket to the Soul Society so they could give a final goodbye to Ichigo. I don't remember if this was in the manga though. Yeah, no, it didn't. No, it was in the manga, and it didn't fucking matter. Those rap against human friends not having to do anything against say it wrong. The fuck is even your argument? Do you understand you are projecting your own headcanon and bias and nothing else? I wouldn't mind seeing commenters' comments. Alright. Don't you absolutely hate that you say literally one thing and the other person will strawman it and it happened to me yesterday in a debate and it was infuriating? Then you just tell them, I did not say that. What do you mean I'm scaring you? I didn't do anything. You just tell them, I did not say that. Just say that. I did not say that whatsoever. You have taken, I did not say those words. You are misinterpreting what I said. You are trying to misconstrue my argument, and then you recontextualize your argument so it's not misconstrued. I'm fine with you using my comments, but I also prefer if you blur. Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I can 100% blur your name. I can even block out your little I can block out your icon. That's fine by me. Like, if anything, I was planning on doing that originally just because I don't know who might be okay with or not. I've noticed that some other YouTubers don't block out the names. I don't know if I'm ever okay with that. But yeah. Okay, so to give you guys an idea, this person essentially had an idea of essentially saying that, like, you know, there are reasons why Yukabaka and Aizen do the things that they do. He goes into explaining that, like, okay, their motivations aren't going to be spelled out for you, and that's why you need to read under the hood and do all the whole thing. You have to basically pinpoint the things. Yeah, just block my name and icon. I got you, dude. For sure. Okay, so as long as you guys are okay with me blocking out your stuff, I genuinely don't mind. I just want to make sure that you guys are okay with it, because in all honesty, like, I know that I wouldn't be okay with if somebody, you know, try to like post one of my comments or whatever and they didn't like block out my name or anything. Like, it's like, listen, I don't mind you taking in my context, but at least, like, you know, just don't put my information, don't just put like that stuff out there for me. So thank you for letting me know. I'm more than willing to do that. Thank you guys. Okay, he essentially goes, and I think most people think that Aizen's motivations, I want to overthrow the Soil King, but that's not even 10% of it. Aizen's enemy is determinism, and the Hogyoku resonates with this because the Hogyoku itself is a wish-granting device that bypasses causality. I don't know about that. It is literally a metaphysical engine of self-determination. Aizen is Bleach's take on the Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch, a person who transcends human failings by creating their own values, overcoming nihilism, and focusing on life on Earth rather than otherworldly promises. But there's a deep twist. We can understand the motivations behind Aizen's rebellion by looking past the philosophical to a more human desire. Aizen was lonely, not that I want friends, kind of lonely. It is the kind of loneliness reserved for people who see too much, who no one around you can understand what they see. Even his loneliness was outright confirmed to us outward to the end with Ichigo's fight. So I want you guys to take that into consideration. He also goes into Yukabaka, talking about how Yukabaka was born in a state of lack of absolute sensory void, as they explain right here, and had this experience since he was a baby, and how he essentially has this idea of having, if you ever use any of my comments, don't have to block my name out since I don't really care that much. Okay, I'll make sure to keep that for you then, Six. Thank you so much for letting me know. Yada yada yada. He's basically sort of saying that, like, Yukabaka's whole goal is that he wants to sort of create this endless loop of survival. He doesn't want to think about death. His motivation is deeply rooted in the fear of death, right? Yada 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 yada, blah 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 blah. You can check out the comment, it's in my last stream, right? So I go into my explanation and saying, okay, for Aizen, you literally can't even pick up on him being lonely until Ichigo outright says it. There is no point at any point within the context of the fucking story that you can sit here and point to Aizen, anything that Aizen says, and then tell me, oh yeah, no, Aizen's clearly a lonely fucking child. No, that's fucking bullshit. You don't get that. His reasoning for doing everything he does not make sense within the slightest bit, and trying to use philosophical excuse like Kubo employing the concepts of the Übermensch or Nietzscheans or whatever doesn't really add anything to the character for me in the slightest bit. I was using voice to text. I mostly use voice to text whenever I'm replying to messages. So if you ever seen like these kind of like little grammar mistakes, it's just that. I'm just talking about it in voice to text. I usually reply to stuff when I wake up. You can try and reason that Aizen's whole philosophy makes sense, but the simple fact is that he was lonely, especially in the way that you were describing it. I'm still led to believe that he never even bothered to make any connections with anyone else's. That's entirely on him. We don't have a past for the guy. How did he learn about the Soul King? How did he reach these conclusions? These are important things that I, as a reader, need to know, because otherwise, Aizen is just a guy going on a side quest because he has problems. That's really what it is. Yeah, share my comments without blocking my name. Okay. The philosophy means nothing if there is no reasoning behind the character's actions. How did he come to that conclusion? I'm not satisfied with a weak answer like you're not meant to sympathize with Aizen, as Kubo has told people in his Q&A. As I've told people before, I don't sympathize with Sukuna, but at least I understand how he got to that point in the first place. With Aizen, there's nothing. There's nothing. I'm supposed to believe that he did everything because he was lonely, even though he completely contradicts everything that he did prior. He gained all of that power in order to usurp God. He merged with the Hogyoku, but in reality, he just didn't want to have it in the first place. He didn't, by it, I mean his powers, and hoped someone would stop him. Oh man, if the author actually bothered to give me any kind of information about the character's past or how they came to this conclusion, I would probably be able to enjoy it a little bit more, and I'd be able to appreciate the philosophical themes behind it. He did not, therefore I do not care. If you're going to tell me that the author set up all of these different philosophical layers towards their characters, but nothing within the context of the story is genuinely set up so that this can make any sense, I don't give a shit. I don't care what philosophy the author's trying to employ. I didn't know that Aizen was lonely until Ichigo fucking stated it. And Ichigo mentioning it in 2 or 3 fucking lines towards the... Not 2 or 3 lines, like 6 or 7 panels towards the end of the arc doesn't mean jack shit to me, because again, how did Aizen come to that conclusion? If you're telling me that he was someone who saw too much, knew too much, how did he learn all that stuff? How did he come to that conclusion? These are things that are extremely important for me to understand, because otherwise, when you're trying to say that the character is meant to be a representation of the perfect philosophy of the Ubermensch, that just sounds like complete bullshit to me. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna go read deep into it. It sounds like absolute horseshit. Did you catch the latest chapter of One Piece? Yeah, no, I caught the latest chapter. It was cool. It was really good. A bit rushed in my opinion, but it was good. I think the only thing I never got into was my dislike for how uninterested Ichigo's world is. He gets whole ass powers, but wasn't interested in Kido or Bakudo. Well, that's because you kind of need to have good control, and Ichigo just didn't have any. I think the Frenzy Flame is better execution of Yukabaga's concept. If it would fit in your video, I might break it down tomorrow under the stream. If anything, comment it on this stream, and I'd be more than willing to put it in the I'd be more than willing to put it into it. I'm not streaming tomorrow. Yeah, no, I'm not streaming tomorrow. I'm taking a break. It doesn't matter what the author says when the things are said aren't even stated within the story or don't make sense. Yeah, like, here's my issue. I shouldn't have to, like, watch an entire YouTube video about a guy breaking down all of these things when these things should be something that I can easily break down on my own. And if Kubo specifically wanted to create and if Kubo specifically wanted to write it in such a way where only few would be able to pick it up on, great, that's fine, but it doesn't fix any of the fucking issues that I still have with the story. For your first paragraph about how Bleach is philosophically deep, I genuinely do not care. I do not care what kind of philosophy the author is trying to convey within the story if everything else about the series is dislikable. A series can have the best use of thematic references and philosophical questions, but it doesn't matter if I don't like the characters, and if the author does not even do if the author does not do an even remotely decent job in making me want to care about them or what is going on within the context of the story. In the same way that people say that Mega Starmie and Mega Pyroar are terribly lazy Pokemon designs, regardless of what reference Nintendo tried to use, Bleach's writing completely negates any of the philosophical messages Kubo's trying to convey. He can have the greatest references of all time. His work can still be mid if the execution is done terribly, and it is terrible. As for the whole show don't tell thing, I completely disagree. I feel like this is one of the arguments that people want to use to make Bleach's writing seem more deep, but he completely fails at doing this as well. How can you genuinely sit there and tell me that he does show don't tell great when there are tons of exposition dumps as to how his character's abilities work, and they even go out of their way to tell the enemies how their abilities work just to have that be the exact objective reason why they lost. Mayuri Kurotsuchi is one of the smartest characters in the story, and this dude talks more than anyone else and goes into the longest, most in-depth explanations as to how he fights and how he's going to win. That is the opposite of show don't fucking tell. You might try to argue that Kubo's use of show don't tell is more subtle within other portions of the story, but that just means the guy doesn't know when to and when not to use it. As far as wanting to make you point the I fucked up right here. What I meant to say was, as far as making you want to like pick apart little points in the story and bring them together, I can tell you right now, it is not that hard to piece things together. The execution is simply not that great. The plot in and of itself isn't something that is too difficult to understand. The little tidbits of information from other characters that you can try to cobble together isn't that hard to pick up. Isn't that hard to pick upon. One Piece does this as well, but it does it so much better. I should have explained why, but I didn't go to. The issue here is that there is next to no payoff for anything because everything that you might be able to figure out may not even have any relevance to the plot. It's likely just some kind of fun little connection or tidbit or Easter egg that you could put together but adds nothing to the world building, especially since Kubo never goes out of his way to expand upon it within the context of the manga. As an example, Ichigo is technically related to the fireworks people, but it's never even remotely brought up, making it a useless little factoid. Like Ichigo being related to the Shiba chick with the one arm and the Ganryu dude. No one gives a shit. It amounts to nothing. It has no payoff. Why should I give a shit about Ichigo being related to them or being surprised that he is? Be like, oh, that's not a little tidbit from me. It's just like, oh, cool. Okay, I don't care. And why shouldn't I care? Because, again, it didn't end up mattering. It was never brought up within the context of a story. It was just something that I'm like, okay, cool. There's a lot of different reasons for why Bleach is not a good series. How are you going to fit all of them within the video? Oh, I'm going to fit them in. Oh, I'm going to fit them in. And if I don't, I'm going to bring up other people's comments that I've gotten throughout the last couple of live streams and talk about them. And I'm going to be like, this writer right here has an issue with, for example, the utilization of the Espada and the Arrancar throughout the final arc. This other guy right here talks about the misuse of Yukabaka. It's not just me. People are just tired of having to hear Bleach is this fucking masterpiece when we are blatantly out here calling out things that it's wrong, that things that are bad with it, and then guess what? And the only defense that people have for this kind of stuff is just, oh, you just didn't get the story, you didn't understand it. No. Yeah. If you do, it's gonna be over an hour. Oh no, the video's gonna be over an hour. You're not gonna expect this until like maybe December 10th. And that's if I work on it every single day. I mean, I'll write a comment tomorrow under the stream since it's okay. Yeah, no worries about it. No worries about it. It's easier. Yeah, for sure. Please do so, Aster. Please do so. There's no payoff because we blamed Aizen for everything, which is Lonely Man did you think was more justified, Conquest or Aizen? Conquest. The guy lived thousands of years. He literally just says it in the moments that here's the difference, right? When you talk about a character that was so lonely or a character that was just kind of just like, you know, just doing his thing. He's just doing his thing because he's lonely or whatever. Conquest is a character, for example, that literally says, imagine not even having a name, only a purpose. I am so lonely. I have nobody to really, everybody's afraid of me, yada, yada, yada. That's a perfect example of someone being lonely. Me having a villain that literally gathers a bunch of people around him, has basically usurps their entire way of living, has two men working with him, and you're telling me that he was lonely? No. Choke on a fat cock, Kubo. I don't give a shit. Choke on a fat cock. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Oh, because he was too strong. He was too strong, Eon. That's why. No, I don't believe it. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't care what the reasoning is. It's stupid. Brought that up in my comment because I wanted to see how you would respond to it and how you would address those kinds of counter arguments in your video. I don't have to address the counter arguments in and of themselves. I agree with every point that you made. He literally has a whole speech. Aizen, I have to listen to it from the main protagonist after he's defeated with no backstory or no real reasoning for it. It's just he was lonely. That was it. And it feels like such a cop-out answer to say that like Aizen was lonely because he saw too much when like Ichigo quite literally says somebody wanted to stop him. My brother in Christ, you could just choose to not do anything. That is so self-contradictory. You do all of this just because you wanted somebody to stop you? When did Aizen come to realize that he wanted somebody to stop him? After he was in fucking Ishin and Masaki's window, outside of their window, fucking just sitting there, not even in the window, sitting there in the very room on a couch or at the edge of the bed, just watching himself get cucked? I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to be honest with you and say that when it comes to Yukabaka, I'm going to tell you the same exact thing. Kubo did not even remotely explain why Yukabaka does the things that he does and why he is the way that he is. I completely understand that he was born as a miracle baby that gave his gifts to others and then took it to reforge himself when they died. I'm sure that this caused them to get a bit of a godlike complex, but this still doesn't explain how he reached the conclusion that he had to unify all three worlds or why he had to slaughter people in front of him for no reason. He slaughters people in front of him for no reason. I'm aware that the answer can probably be found easily in the light novels, but I'm not going to read them because I'm not going going to give Kubo that time? Stuff like this should be within the main story, within the main source material. I don't care about the themes or the philosophies or whatever the heck Kubo tried to convey with his characters. Their motivations as far as the manga go make absolutely no sense to me. This is a great concept for a villain executed extremely poorly. From the reason of their motivations to the way that they are defeated, the character completely fails to make me feel anything. If you're seriously telling me that Kubo wrote this story entirely with intention down to every last detail, then I can tell you straight up that he completely failed in its execution. A good portion of the cast feels completely useless or underutilized. There are so many meaningless scenes where you could have been used to either explain specific details or at least explain why they are certain inconsistencies with abilities like Auswahlen, because it was used more than 4 times and there were 3 different results. Some Quincy instantly died. Some got hit by it and didn't die. Jugram can barely move and slowly died. And what about the Deus Ex Machina? Machina sword or the Deus Ex Machina arrow? I guess it didn't. I guess Google will translate. Google. No, not Google. Voice to text didn't go well there. Was that a part of his plan too? Were those completely unsatisfying conclusions to the fights intentional? If Kubo's intention for the story was to leave the reader blue-balled, then I would completely agree with you. He consistently writes himself into these corners and ends up giving us the most unsatisfying results because he chose to write his villains to be so overpowered that the only thing that could take them out was the plot. The writing of Bleach is lacking in period. I do not care what the themes or philosophies an author is trying to convey. If I want to be... they're trying to convey. I want to be satisfied when I read, and I'm consistently left unsatisfied. There are so many characters in the story. Let me slow down because I'm getting like that pain in my neck again. Just reading this pisses me off. There are so many characters in the story that I want to be able to do to like, but they end up doing nothing, which makes me feel like absolute waste. I don't want to spend the time. I don't write this in there, but I don't want to spend the time to build a connection with a character, or I feel like there's no point in me building a connection with a character if they end up just doing nothing. I don't give a shit about characters in One Piece, like the side cast, like Don Krieg, so on and so forth, because they're characters that mean nothing and do nothing. Characters like Eustace Kid's men mean absolutely nothing to me, and I don't care about them because there's no time for me to build up anything for them. But characters like Eustace Kid and Killer, I can care about them because of tidbits like Killer giving up his own sanity and his ability to not laugh just for Killer's sake, just so he could get by. Kid and Killer essentially being ride or dies for each other. Kid's entire exposition and fighting within Wano, right? These are things that I do like about the characters that make me want to at least care about them. I'm not saying they're my favorite characters. I'm not saying that they're the most important characters in my opinion, or if they die, I would shed a tear, but I do care about the characters. Kid stepping in front. See you later, Aster. Killer stepping in front of Shanks's divine departure so that he could take a good portion of the brunt of the hit for Kid, even though it still one-shots him. I'm not saying that was one of the greatest moments in fiction, but again, it's moments like this that make me feel like these two are true friends, true ride or dies. It makes me care for the characters even if they ultimately failed, because at least they managed to succeed in something great. But where do Bleach characters succeed? Where do they do things that make me want to fucking care? How does a series have me crying over a boat and a dog when Bleach got me sleeping over the entire cast? 100%. I'm about to fucking use that. You know what? Let me see. Can I copy? Wait. Copy. Here. No, I'm just throwing into the script. I'm throwing into the script. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, there we go. Oh, I can't copy? That's crazy. Copy. Oh, I guess it doesn't let me do that. I'll remember. Thank you so much. Auswahlen, or how you spell it, got escaped by some people after it hit them, I guess. That's the only explanation. There's no real explanation because it hit them. How did the old man get completely wiped out, but how did Jugram not get wiped out in an instant? That's what I'm saying. How did ain't the text white? Oh, shit, you're fucking right. The text just was straight up white. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, sorry. It was white. My bad. Thank you. Copied it just while white text. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Anyway, back to the rest of this. How many times am I supposed to see Ichigo use Getsuga Tensho before the move finally does something? I don't care what philosophical or metaphysical layers, or I don't care about the philosophical or metaphysical layers if I have to make up my own headcanon as to why the villains do the things that they do. Looking at those themes or philosophies doesn't fix my problems that Ichigo has the powers of every single major race but only ever utilizes 2/3 of those powers. The characters like Rangiku and the other lieutenants feel absolutely and objectively useless in the final arc. That Chad, one of the main protagonist's friends, quite literally does nothing after chapter 260. That Ichigo's Bankai is never even remotely explained, yet I'm supposed to believe that it's dangerous. That Nanao, the one character who has never even remotely been in a fight, defeats one of the most powerful Stern Ritters because she just so happened to also be part of a family with a divine sword that completely counters godlike beings with absolutely no foreshadowing. That Toshiro Hitsugaya, for whatever reason, at some point got turned into a zombie off screen. That the visored captains never holified during the first invasion. Kupo's reasoning was in the Q&A, and it was terribly stupid reason. They are stated verbatim to be killed, and then they are completely fine and dandy by the end of the series after being turned into zombies and then turned into not zombies. That Komamura is the biggest loser in the entire series because not only does he go out a hypocrite for doing the same thing that he was virtue signaling Tozen for, but he was literally gets one win in the entire series, and it's against a random Stern Ritter. Yes, Bambi is a fucking random Stern Ritter. There is nothing about her that is anything more important than any of the other Stern Ritters, besides the fact that she has her other friends, which aren't even her friends. They all hate each other. And just for her to come back to life a couple of chapters later. Do you understand that these are problems that you understand that these are not something, that these problems are not something that's going to be fixed by simply saying Kubo's use of philosophy and metaphysical layers or his genius foreshadowing, or his foreshadowing his genius? My problem is with the characters. My problem is with the execution. My problem is with the unsatisfying conclusions. I can read a story 100 times through and through. I'm going to be frustrated every single time because I'm not made to care about anyone. Their attitudes for the most part are childish. Why are so many characters in Bleach just get upset about everything? They're all fucking pissed off for no reason, man. They are all quite literally. How many characters in Bleach? Literally, count them in your hand. Count them in both hands. How many characters in Bleach constantly show a piss poor attitude or show themselves to be pissed off about something or give some kind of an attitude, some kind of a shitty attitude that just makes you want to punch him in the face? Ichigo, Rukia, Renji, not Orihime or Chad, my bad. Ichigo, Rukia, Renji, fucking Kenpachi, fucking, Soifon, Kensei. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, let's talk about Grimmjow. Oh, let's talk about fucking Tier Hallibel's Fracciones. That's like 3. That's like 2 people right there. Technically 3. Let's talk about let's talk about half of the fucking Stern Ritters, man. Basby. You got Bambietta. You got the crash outs. You got all 4 crash outs that are the Bambis, except for maybe Giselle. Bleach is the Caillou of the big 3. Like, everyone is just constantly has some kind of a fucking chip on their shoulders, and it's just not interesting when all the characters are just constantly coming at each other. The dialogue is so unrealistic because the characters are consistently calling each other dumbasses. When somebody does anything cool, they immediately get hacked down. Nothing here is even remotely fixed by understanding Kubo's philosophies. He has good ideas, terrible execution. It's simple as that. Simple. Yeah. Anyway. That was my reply, and I'm going to heart my own reply because I love my takes. Was I the only one who thought the Bount arc was canon just to see it was filler right after watching that? Yeah, and then the 3 little fuckers, there are a few side characters that actually do anything, and the ones that do are just shallow characters. Yeah, I felt more for bodiless Buggy crying with snot when he wants to get the One Piece in front of Mihawk. Yeah, no, because that moment is crazy. Because that moment is supposed to show that Buggy is not just going to let himself be taken care of advantage. Be taken for granted, or he's not going to let himself be taken advantage of. Buggy is a guy that says, you know what, no, I want to do it too. I have the means. I now have the means. We have the situation. Why the fuck wouldn't I just do it? Yeah. Buggy's example was a great example. I did like that chapter. I enjoyed that chapter a lot. But that's because you also see the buildup of Buggy getting his ass beat every fucking time. I knew it was filler too. I knew it was filler, but the issue with it was just that, like, I decided to watch it anyway because I remember reading through, like, a forum at one point that, I remember reading it through a forum at one point that, the end of that arc does set up the next arc, so I was like, fuck it, let me watch through it. Who knew two perverts fighting in Dressrosa was more riveting than all of Bleach? And you know what's crazy? Frankie and what's his face aren't even like real perverts. They dress like that for their own reasons. And Frankie just like dressing around in a Speedo. That doesn't necessarily make him a pervert. Also, we know about the promise Shanks made to Buggy, which is why he was so adamant about it. Okay. I want to rewrite this. I hadn't consumed anything related to the story since I put it down. Media. It's quite simple. It's to show you guys that I do have some nostalgia for the series, but nostalgia doesn't prevent me from calling out things that I don't like. It's often because of nostalgia that we look past certain flaws, regardless of how prevalent they may be, or how fair the criticism are. You can't just say it's often because of nostalgia that we look past certain flaws regardless of how prevalent they may be or how fair the criticisms are. As a matter of fact, how long is the stream going to be? I'm going to probably end it in about 9 minutes. Senior Pink is mid. Yeah, Senior Pink is actually not. I don't get why people really like say like it's one of the best things ever in One Piece. Like Senior Pink was okay. It made you feel something, but overall, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over this character. Bleach does not feel like it's the end products of development we never got. I don't think it's fair. I know I may not have been looking for, but as I can't say manga. Even though there's two big reasons I simply don't like it. I hadn't consumed anything related to the story and was frustrated with the characters wasted years later. But a part of me did want to fully deep dive into manga to prefer consumption. Even though I had mixed feelings over the story as a whole, some big reasons why I had to go through the whole side time. You joining the stream, you realize that I don't like Bleach. In fact, a few people have even convinced themselves that I have some deep issue. I wasn't initially excited about the series, and I simply didn't. In truth, I wasn't initially excited to read through the series. The story as a whole. The only thing I wasn't looking forward to was the first arc. Even though I have mixed feelings over the story as a whole, over this product as a whole, I can definitely say that the only thing I can definitely say that the only thing I wasn't looking forward to was the first arc. Okay, and here's where I'm gonna hit like the after this point right here. I'm gonna hit just more depth 10. I mean, I think people hate Rebecca. She has a very lewd outfit. Yeah. You better not hold back in this video. Slam everything you dislike about it. Oh, no, you definitely don't have to worry about that. I'm going to talk about things that I legitimately did like about it. As a matter of fact, I can definitely say that, like, looking back, the first arc wasn't that bad. When I first started Bleach, I remember, one second. I think it was generally impressive that Oda got us to care. When I first started reading Bleach, when I first started watching Bleach, I remember not being very fond of its first arc. I remember not being fond of its first arc. Ichigo didn't have the large butcher's knife. Ichigo didn't have the large butcher's knife. He had with the cool red bead. Cool red bead sash. He had a large katana. And very droopy eyes. I can't say I'm a fan of Kubo's early art style. I can't say I'm a fan of Kubo's early art. He had a large katana. He had a large katana, but it wasn't. But it was kind of basic. He had a large katana, but it was kind of basic. But it felt kind of basic. Yeah. A large butcher knife. I can't say I'm a fan of Kubo's early art style. Especially since it would eventually evolve into one of the cleanest art styles in shonen, even to this day. It's one thing I can't. Art styles in shonen, even to this day. It's definitely pushing you over 10k. Hopefully, we'll use the Nemu situation to show that Kubo's writing is subpar, with the progression and the end of the arc aren't executed well. I will. I'll be talking about Nemu. I'll be talking about a lot of the 13 court guard squads. Don't worry. If they're, by the way, guys, I would really appreciate it because I'm going to end the stream in like a few minutes. I'm going to just leave it here. Can I ask you guys a favor? If you guys have any complaints that you have about Bleach, that you guys can comprehensively, I mean, you guys can properly spell out what your issues are. I'm not promising that I'm going to use all of them, but I would like to see them maybe in the comment sections after I end the stream. You guys are more than welcome to do it. If you guys have any things that you guys would like to point out that you maybe found frustrating yourselves, like the Nemu stuff, there's a lot of things that I do have to cover. I'm going to be like looking through the story, so on and so forth, especially throughout like later streams or when I'm just writing through the script on my own. Stuff like Nemu, stuff like Komamura, yada yada yada. in the comments of this stream, yeah, after the stream is done, you can post comments. Like, you can post comments, larger comments on the section. How was the writing today? Well, we're about 2 pages into the script already. We're almost done with 2 pages into the script. We're doing well. But if there are anything that you guys would like to call out or stuff, like maybe some stuff you guys would like to jog me into, because it is a lot that I'm going to have to go through. I'm going to be going a deep dive into, like, the full manga. I'm going into all the arcs. So there are things that I might miss on my own. But if you guys have anything that you guys would like to add, you're more than welcome to. Flaming on Bleach requested, did Christmas come early? I would appreciate it. Yeah, I've been dying to objectively prove why Zangetsu retcon is nonsense. If you want to, please do so. If there are smaller things, if some of the comments are kind of smaller, or there are things that, like, you know, maybe you want to call out that I also disliked and stuff like that, yeah, let me know. I'd love to actually throw these into the I would love to just throw these in. Oh, the Discord has a Bleach hate channel? It will now. You guys are also willing to do that in the comment section, or you're more than willing to do that in the in our Discord channel. If you're not in the Discord, feel free to do it within the context of the end of the video. All right, guys? I would really appreciate it. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna head out now. I think about 2 pages worth of time within the last, like, what, 3 hours isn't too bad. I'll probably try to figure out how I can hook it. I'll probably need some inspiration for that later, but it's slow at work, so I can include chapters on why Kubo randomly retconning Zangetsu into not wanting Ichigo to be a Shinigami. You guys are more. Can the channel be named Bleach Eats Beans? Yes, we can name it Bleach Eats Beans, 100%. And yeah, for those of you that are still here, you're more than welcome to, do that. If not, more than fine. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekends. I'm going to just spend my weekend actually resting, because, real talk, I feel like that build-up on my neck is happening again, and I feel like it happens. It's called bleach bashing. Bleach bashing because it eats beans. My internet went out during the One Piece chapter. How was it for you? It was nice, man. It was nice. I definitely enjoyed it. Felt a little bit rushed, but overall, no issues. Yeah, just going to leave it at that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Peace out. Be sure to drink some water. Be sure to take care of yourselves. Treat people kindly. And listen, if somebody posts, and I want to just be honest about this, I just kind of want to nip this in the bud. If somebody were to post some kind of, like, long spree about why, and they're comprehensively talking about Robert, the old man who got hit by Osvalin, survived the impact in the anime, that's stupid. Alright. You'll write an essay, you can write as much as you'd like. But if anybody decides to comment on it like this individual right here did, and they try to actually go into a very in-depth and very comprehensive explanation as to some of the things that they did enjoy about the story, don't attack them. Don't say you're not reading it. And if you're going to engage with it with some level of, by trying to be genuine about it. Maybe try to counteract some of their points. Don't just say, blah, 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 you wrote a whole bunch of nothing. Please don't do that, because I don't want to just deter people from wanting to have conversations within the context of our community. Please, like, I would like it that whether or not we agree or disagree on any topics, we're not here to, like, basically tell people, oh yeah, no, whatever you say doesn't matter. I don't like that either. If a person is going to make disingenuous claims or arguments, that I'm not saying do that either for them. I'm just saying, just tell them, hey, you're not really making a point. You're just saying you disagree, and that's completely fine. But that's basically it, guys. I don't want to make a toxic community. Yeah. If you guys have anything, if you guys want to talk about different arcs of the series, whether it's Soul Society, or you guys just want to focus on the Hueco Mundo arc, so on and so forth, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Yeah, even saw articles about that. But yeah, have a good night, guys. Peace out.